Yeah, we're just a couple of minutes from kick-off on our main feature, and a former Ipswich Town player making his debut for BBC Radio Suffolk in the commentary box this afternoon, stopping the rot for Town in the Cup a few seasons ago. We'll hear from Alan Judge in a moment. He's at Portman Road alongside our commentator Brenna Woolley.
Place in round 4 of the FA Cup awaits this afternoon's winners as 1978 victors Ipswich Town once again step out on the road to Wembley against a club who've also won the competition just the once, way back in 1953. Remember, this one has to be settled on the day, however long it takes. Whether this turns out to be the cliched welcome break from league action for either of these sides, one targeting a Premier League return, the other trying to make up lost ground in League One, only time will tell. Town kick off targeting a 5th straight win here at Blackpool. They've lost their last 2, although previous to that, Ian Evatt's men, who made a stumbling start under Steve Bruce, had won 5 out of 6. And given recent cup defeats, the likes of Barrow, Maidstone, Wimbledon and Bromley, home fans will be taking nothing for granted as Kieran McKenna's men try to prevent this tie from being one of the stories of the weekend. And Alan, how do you feel, or how did you feel on third round day as a player? Was it still a special occasion?
Oh yes, most definitely. I love the FA Cup. Who doesn't like the FA Cup? It takes a bit of a break from the league, and you know, it's knockout football. Who doesn't want it? It's a great day, and like today, you could get a team from lower down the league, or you could get a team above you. It's great. Anything can happen on these days.
And in terms of Ipswich Town this season, it's clearly not their priority, but surely with such a big squad, it wouldn't do them any harm to get a few games in?
I think so. I think Kieran likes the games. I think he's come out and said that a few times. I think that's also what he said last year, where it was literally Saturday to Saturday in the Premier League. In the Championship, you'll have Saturday, Tuesday, could be 2-3 weeks, and then with an added cup game, his squad is big enough to deal with that.
7 changes to the team that beat Oxford here on New Year's Day. As far as Ipswich Town are concerned, the only survivors are Kipre, Matusiwa, Philogene and Akpom. Palmer starts in goal, which we expected, a back 4 of Johnson, Kipre, Greaves and the captain Young, although of course the 2 fullbacks could be the other way around. We'll keep an eye on that. Certainly alongside Matusiwa in midfield is Taylor. Then you've got the 3 of Burns, Clark and Philogene in behind Akpom. On the bench, Button, Baggett, Davis, Nunez, McAteer, Athon, Eggerly, Barbrook and Smodics as the 2 sets of players head towards the halfway line. I'll give you the Blackpool team in a few moments. First of all, there will be a minute's applause in respect of Peter Over, who sadly passed away on Sunday at the age of 63.
As well as a trustee of Ipswich Town Foundation, he was newly appointed chairman of Ipswich Town plc and held the position of Deputy Lieutenant for Suffolk, which saw him attend events on the county on behalf of the royal family. His fierce dedication and passion for the club and the county of Suffolk ensured Peter was trusted, respected and loved by so many. With his knowledge, guidance and unique sense of humour, making him such a valued friend to all. He will be missed immensely. We will now hold a minute's applause in memory of Peter, which will end on the referee's whistle.
That was incredibly sad news this week, the passing of Peter Over, club ambassador and PLC chairman here at Ipswich Town and a foundation trustee. In a statement on the club website a few days ago, Mark Ashton, the chief executive and chairman, talked about everyone within the club being devastated. We are heartbroken. to lose someone so special, and described him as an incredible friend and colleague. Our thoughts obviously with Peter's wife and sons. The Blackpool team then, just a couple of changes from their 2-1 home defeat to Bradford last Sunday. Banks and Bowler dropped to the bench. In come Lee Evans back at Portman Road and CJ Hamilton. Peacock Farrell is their goalkeeper, likely to play a back three of Lyons, Casey and Ashworth. Morgan will sit in midfield, then a four of Imre, Evans, Honeyman and CJ Hamilton. And up front, the top two, they've been amongst the goals this season, 21 between them. Fletcher alongside Bloxham. Fletcher has 8 in his last 9. There'll be a handful and a test for Kipre and Greaves. On the bench for the visitors, Ravizoli, Brown, Ennis, Bowler, Banks, Finnegan, Upton, Knight and Nwankwo. It's Blackpool in their traditional tangerine kits who will be kicking off. Lee Evans back on the centre spot at Portman Road. They're playing from right to left, so Town in their blue shirts, white shorts and blue socks. Defending the Sir Bobby Robson standoff to our left-hand side, the referee Thomas Parsons gets this one underway on a crisp January afternoon, but very sunny here at Portman Road as well. Ideal conditions for this FA Cup third round tie. Town reached the 5th round last year, just 1 win away from the quarter-finals when they lost to Forest on penalties. In fact, Ipswich Town have gone out of their last 3 competitions on spot kicks. Let's hope this afternoon's a bit more plain sailing as Kieran McKenna looks for his 7th FA Cup victory as an Ipswich Town manager, the most since George Burley. John Lyle, the last man to win 7 FA Cup games whilst in charge of Town. There is Greaves playing to the left of Kipre, as we expected. Young's actually playing at right back, Johnson at left back, as Young hits the ball forward to the man in all green, Peacock Farrell, Northern Ireland international, very experienced goalkeeper, on loan from Birmingham. What do you make of the Town team with the 7 changes, Alan? I guess to be expected. It still looks strong, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely a really strong team. I think we spoke before, we were wondering if he would play the team he might have played against Portsmouth, so those players didn't have 2 weeks without a game. But this is the reason why Kieran has this squad. He can change, and let's be honest, it doesn't really make the team much weaker, does it?
Here is Kipre giving the ball to Young near side, the oldest player who's ever played for Ipswich Town in the FA Cup, the 40-year-old former winner, of course, Ashley Young. We heard from him earlier on match day. There is Burns, his first start since Anfield 351 days ago. Great to see him back, Alan, isn't it?
Brilliant. We spoke before as well, just the injury that he's come through. I know myself what it's like, and to come back and for him to score against Coventry on his return, honestly, I bet the feeling he had was unbelievable.
Greaves forward towards the number 18 Johnson, playing behind Philogene on the far touchline. On the centre spot now, Kipre again. Town seeing plenty of the ball against opponents 39 places below them in the pyramid. There is Clark, who was Town's best player when they won at Coventry last year in the 4th round. They'd beaten Bristol Rovers at this stage 12 months ago, Ipswich Town. Greaves once more, terrific at left back a couple of weeks ago, but he's back at centre half, Jacob Greaves. Matthew Seawer once again back to Kipre inside the centre circle. The centre half stands on the ball. Matthew Seawer's available. He gives it to the Dutchman. Back it goes to Kipre. Plenty Ipswich players getting a touch of the yellow ball early on in this game. Palmer, first time we've seen him since the injury against Charlton. Can't have any complaints over Christian Walton taking his place. So there is Jack Taylor. Do you think he's having a good season, Alan, what you've seen of Town, Taylor in midfield?
I do. I think he's he's starting to get that place to be his own, really, along with Matasiwa. I think he's doing really well. Cayuse hasn't played as much maybe as we thought he would do, but Jack hasn't let anybody down. In fact, I think he's getting better by the week.
Remember, Macclesfield already have beaten holders Crystal Palace today. Town trying to avoid an FA Cup shock. Here is Philogene running in field. 9 goals for him for the season. Rolled to the deck, but he's got back up and given the ball to Young. Now Burns down the right hand side, taking on Hamilton. A chance for a cross to come in. It's closed down by Hamilton. Town win a corner kick inside 4 minutes.
Very interesting to see if Ben Johnson's position, he's taken up as like a number 10 inside off the left, leaving Philogene wide left, and it's like playing with a 3 at the back, building in possession.
Town corner kick. Ashley Young, the captain, on the day with it inside the first 4 minutes of this FA Cup third round tie. Town attacking the goal off to the right hand side. The former England international has his right hand in the air next to the tunnel. Forward he comes, it's an away swinger, headed towards goal by Kipre and tipped over the bar by Peacock Farrell. First ever on goal.
Great delivery from Ashley Young. I think we're used to seeing that over the years.
That's what Town are going to get from him this afternoon. Kipre looking for his third goal in Ipswich Town colours. 2 previous ones have come in that penalty area. There's a decent stop from Peacock Farrell, tested early on in this game. Town exerting a bit of pressure. 2 hands in the air this time. That's the signal from Young. Hangs this corner deep beyond the far stick. Recycled by Greaves, but it loops out behind. Goal kick to Blackpool. Ian Evatt, their manager, very lively next to a nice, calm and composed Kieran McKenna. The last time these two sides met in this competition, they've only met twice in the FA Cup. In the past, Ian Evatt was actually sent off at Bloomfield Road. I should have said they met twice in cup competitions. There was a League Cup, but that was 15 years ago that Evatt was one of a couple of players sent off for Blackpool at Bloomfield Road as Town won 2-1. Blackpool wide right outside the Ipswich area, blocks him with a good looking cross in, double-fisted punch away by Palmer. He's looking for his strike partner Fletcher in the middle. Could be a useful pair that might test Ipswich. Referee's blown his whistle against Philogene for a foul on Honeyman inside the Ipswich Town half, but that was a threat from Blackpool. Evans takes a quick free kick to the right hand side, and Imre is robbed of the ball by Philogene. Town on the counter-attack, still work to be done up to the halfway line. In from Philogene to Clark, a rare start for those two together. Clark gets it back to Philogene, through to Burns, a great chance for a goal from Wes Burns. He stumbles at the last moment, seemed to be caught in a couple of minds, made a mess of it, and it's out wide. Real chance there, Alan.
Yeah, great quick attack there. Jack Clark held onto the ball. We thought he might have held onto it a bit too much. Great pass by Philogene, and lucky for Wes, I think he just lost his footing.
Goal kick for Blackpool, but at the other end, just ahead of that, Alex Palmer called upon from Ipswich Town's perspective. Decent link-up play between Bloxham and Fletcher. Bloxham played against Ipswich Town for Shrewsbury in the past, during the League One days. Fletcher, very highly regarded as a kid at Manchester United, then West Ham. Seems to have found a home in the Northwest at the moment with all these goals for Blackpool. They love to impress on this stage here this afternoon as Young gives the ball back to Kipre, the 2 players that almost conjured up the opening goal a few moments ago. Kipre gives the ball back to Ashley Young once again. Disguised pass from Young is a poor one, straight to Honeyman. Evans gets it to Fletcher in the centre circle. Good work from Johnson coming in field again, like Alan was mentioning a few moments ago. Lovely ball out to the left-hand side. Silky first touch from Philogene inside the Blackpool area. A couple of step overs, a third one. Still Philogene to the byline, into the middle looking for Akpom. Comes as far as Johnson. It's a weak effort from him. It almost turned out into a pass for Akpom, but Blackpool get it out far side.
Yeah, definitely. Lyons, the defender for Blackpool, there just didn't want to be left 1v1 with Philogene, and he had no option but to back off into his box, and that's when Philogene is at his most dangerous.
Town doing some nice stuff. Clark rides the challenge of Ashworth. Clark up to the edge of the box, and Akpom's done well to hold it up and feed it back to Matusiwa. Town on top, looking for the breakthrough in this cup tie. 7.5 minutes gone. Philogene up against Imre, passes the ball in field and gets it back. Now Taylor to Johnson underneath the Blackpool fans' far side. Showed too much of the ball to his marker Lyons. Throw in to Ipswich outside the Blackpool penalty area. First ever cup meeting here between the two sides. The two I mentioned earlier on, one FA Cup, one League Cup, were both in the Northwest. Foul over on the far side on Imre. Free kick to Blackpool.
It's been a good start from Ipswich. They've done everything right at the moment, especially with it being the FA Cup, playing against a team below. You don't want to give them any chance of getting out, and Ipswich are doing the right. They're pressing, they're getting after the ball, and they're moving it well.
Free kick at the back to Blackpool. It's going to be taken by the number 4, Casey, who has played against Ipswich in the past whilst on loan at Forest Green Rovers. Very early on in his Blackpool career. Started out initially at Leeds United's academy. There is Palmer. Well done, his confidence some good. The punch of a few moments ago, Palmer. This time it's a nice bit of straightforward work to Matusiwa. Taylor along the floor to Philogene. Good to see him seeing a lot of the ball. Up against Imre, he'll have to work back and help out lines and double up on Philogene, but that'll free up space for someone else. Philogene's upended. Free kick taken by Johnson. Back it goes to Greaves. Kipre once again. Town well on top in terms of possession. The ball in the half off to our right, more often than not so far in this game. That's the half being defended by Blackpool. There is Akpom dropping very deep in midfield, upended by Casey. Free kick. Just need to find a cutting edge Ipswich Town, but still very early days. 9 minutes gone. Matusiwa into midfield. He finds Akpom. Akpom with a lay off to Greaves. Philogene tight to the far touchline, comes in field, rides the challenge of Imre, then holds off Imre, gives it to Kipre. There is Ashley Young once again. Burns underneath us, plays it to Clark, gets the return, can't control it. It's a throw to Blackpool. Now it's Ashworth, former West Brom youngster, gives it to Evans. Back it goes to Zach Ashworth, who hangs the ball down this touchline to the big man, blocks him. It's Honeyman who gives it to Evans. Evans tries to find Imre. Well read by Johnson. Ben Johnson of Ipswich Town running forward with the ball. Gives it to Philogene, wide left outside the Blackpool area. Taken off of him by the experienced Honeyman. You know, he can perform at this level. A former Sunderland and Millwall player. Good challenge from Taylor. Just kept in by Johnson. Out it goes, but Town have started pretty well, Alan.
Yeah, definitely, as I said, they're keeping the ball, got a good bit of possession, they've started the game right. They're getting after as well when they do lose the ball. Blackpool do have a few players that have played at a higher level, so they do have players that can cause a bit of problem, especially Fletcher up front. You've got to keep him quiet today.
Good play again from Akpom, holding the ball up well then, feeding Philogene on the left-hand side. Philogene to Taylor, edge of the Blackpool area. He has a go. It's on target, straight at Peacock Farrell, but worth an effort from Taylor. Still looking for his first goal of the season, but we've seen him score from that distance in the past.
Yeah, that's surprising, especially for Jack with a shot like he has. I think we've seen over the years he's definitely got a great strike outside the box, so I think that'll be something he'll be looking to do more often today.
Matusiwa trying to find Clark, but well read by Lee Evans. Ball goes back via Lyons to Casey, who is playing as the central of the three Caseys we expected. There is Peacock Farrell, left-footed, going long, trying to get Hamilton in behind Young. It was a mistake from Ashley Young. Hamilton wide left outside the Ipswich area. Back come the blue shirts. In comes the cross from Hamilton, right across the face of goal. Imre will keep it in on the far side, the Blackpool right. Imre pulls the ball back to Evans, who's also played for Portsmouth since he left Ipswich Town. Lee Evans, now 31 years of age. He scored that hat-trick against Doncaster 4.5 years ago now. He's a key player for Ipswich Town, their promotion from League One to the Championship. There is Morgan getting it forward, but headed off the edge of his area by Greaves. Here come Blackpool again, though. Well held up by Bloxham. Out to the right side, Imre. Evans, first time cross into the Ipswich area. Could be dangerous. Touched away again by Palmer, flying to the edge of his 6-yard area. Burns is going to go after this. The ball's gone out of play as he challenges the Blackpool player, who could be a nasty injury. Seemed to go head first towards the advertising boards, did Ashworth. And he's lying on his back. The physio from Blackburn, understandably, was very quick to get along the touchline and look after Zach Ashworth.
That's twice you've seen that Blackpool have kind of sucked Ipswich onto them, and then they have no problem going forward. They've got 2 crosses in, but for the Ipswich defence, it'd be great to see that Palmer has no problem coming out and taking command of his box.
Hopefully he's going to be okay, Zach Ashworth. Excellent work from the physio, realised the danger straight away. Burns totally entitled to go for the ball, pulled out a bit, and Ashworth went piling into the advertising board down next to us. Burns is having a little hobble as well. Doesn't look totally comfortable, which is a concern as far as Ipswich Town are concerned. Yeah, you were telling me earlier on, comparing you had a very similar injury to Wes. Just a bit more on that, Alan. You were saying that some of the twinges and the feelings you get when you're just working your way back from an injury like he's had.
Exactly, ACL. It's one of those ligaments. It just takes a long time. It heals quite quick, but it takes a long time for your body to get used to it again. So today, with the way they've managed Wes, he's played a few minutes coming off the bench. Obviously scored against Coventry. Obviously this is the right time for him to hopefully get 60-70 minutes under his belt. This is good for his body to get used to those twitch fibres, for your calves, your hamstrings. I'm just hoping his afternoon's not cut short here. It looks like there's something up with him at the moment.
McAteer and Egley have both been sent out. It would be such a shame if Wes Burns' afternoon didn't last any longer than 13 and a half minutes. And Ashworth, great to see that he's up on his feet and okay. So for the moment it's 10 against 10. Both Burns and Ashworth still off the field. Zach Ashworth, who's the son of Dan Ashworth, former technical director at Newcastle United and Manchester United, and obviously held a high position at the FA as well. He's ready to come back on. Burns not so. On the left hand side, in comes the high ball into Palmer's area. Should be an easy take inside his 6-yard box, and indeed it is. Johnson, the left back for Ipswich Town, got their first cup goal of the season at Bromley. Still 0-0 here after 14 and a half minutes. Ashworth's back on for Blackpool, so got a man advantage at the moment. As Kipre takes the ball to the centre spot, to his left hand side Greaves, along the floor to Philogene. Philogene controls up the studs of his right boot. Still waiting for the first goal as Smoddock's good to see him back from illness, also goes out for a jog underneath us.
Yeah, it'd be good to see Sammy get a good run in the team. I think it's been a bit stop-start for him. We know the quality that he has, so hopefully he gets a good run now that he's had a sickness and those few injuries and they're out of the way.
Burns back on, which is good. Warm round of applause for the Welshman. Kipre up towards Taylor. Matusiwa back to Taylor. Promising work from Town. Philogene wide left outside the Blackpool area on the corner of the box. He tucks it back to Greaves just behind the referee. Taylor gets it from Greaves and gives it back to him. Now Philogene one-on-one with Imre on the far side. Loath to cross left-footed. Wants to get it back to Taylor instead. Town playing passes short around the edge of the box. Nice one too. Greaves has done well. In comes his cross, missed by everyone. Out as far as Young, 20 yards from goal. Young looks up, gives it to Burns wide right, shifts it out, then dinks it into the middle, looks a good ball, and it's over the bar from the back of Chuba Akpom's head. He was unlucky, you can tell by his reaction. He quite fancied that when he made contact, I think, Chuba.
Yeah, he had a run on the defender, which is always good for the centre forward. You know, you can use the centre half's body and their momentum to help you up even more. That was good patient play from Ipswich. Got it out wide and giving it to Wes, doing what he usually does, getting to the byline and getting it crossing.
Exactly what he was doing there, Akpom. Came flush off the back of his head, but you could tell by the anguished look on his face he thought he might have done better. As it is still goalless. Kipre's header earlier on from a Young corner, the closest we've come to an opening goal in this cup tie. Town with 7 changes from the Oxford win, of course their last match because of last Sunday. Fletcher's going to try and take on Kipre, real battle of the heavyweights. Kipre stood the test. Palmer closed down by Fletcher. Fletcher and Bloxham are a pair who could cause Town some problems this afternoon, Alan, when you look at them, aren't they?
I think when you can see they have the physicality, and I think that's now the 3rd time Blackpool have done that. Suck Ipswich onto them a little bit and they have no problem putting that ball down the channel. Bit of old-fashioned football there. One centre forward comes short, the other one goes in behind.
Former Town midfielder Alan Judge with me on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport this afternoon, watching this FA Cup 3rd round tie. Upset so far involving Wrexham and Macclesfield, but no goals so far in this one. Clark to Young. Young gives the ball back to Cedric Kipre. Now it's with Jacob Greaves. Had to beat Scunthorpe and Carlisle, of course, Blackpool, to get to this stage of the competition. Not done particularly well down the years since that win in 1953. In fact, they've reached one quarter final since then. Honeyman closing down Greaves. Will know each other from their Hull City days. Philogene tries to play it through the legs of Imre. Imre was too wise and carries it up to halfway. In stretches Greaves' left leg and boot, and the ball's taken out far side for a throw to Blackpool. They will be growing in confidence, I guess, as the visitors, although they've given the ball away cheaply there. They win it back because there was a trip on Akpom. But I guess if they get through the first 15-20 minutes at a place like this, you're bound to grow into the game from their perspective, aren't they? Yeah,
definitely. I think, as you can see, their game plan is let Ipswich have the ball in their own half. They're retreating back into their own half, and then they're going to try just pick off Ipswich's passes. But like just there, they just got to be careful with their own passing along the back, or else they could lose it quite easily.
Well, in the absence of Leif Davis, Marcelino Nunez, Ashley Young seems to be the main free kick or corner kick taker, although on this occasion he's walked away from this one. It's Ben Johnson having a go from the far side. Blackpool have got their line about 6 yards outside the penalty box off to our right hand side, all 10 tangerine shirts in it. Ipswich have got 4 players in offside positions at the moment the other side. That'll change in a moment. Johnson on this free kick far side with his right foot. He's going to swing it into the box off to our right hand side. In it comes from the former West Ham player towards Burns. Burns touched towards goal. It'll be classed as an effort on goal, but it was a simple pick-up for Peacock Farrell. Peacock Farrell's most infamous moment here, if you like, was the moment he was robbed by Macaulay Bonne, the little cheeky goal that Bonne scored against him for Ipswich against Sheffield Wednesday a few years ago when he was embarrassed, the goalkeeper. Break and play now because of a late challenge by Matthew Seawer on Morgan. Morgan, a player who scored a couple of goals against Town in the past for Charlton, scored in the 4-4 at the Valley a few years ago, and also scored a 2-0 win here for the Addicts. Free kick which Ashworth is going to be taken for Blackpool. Still no goals 20 minutes into this cup tie as Kipre wins an unchallenged header, nodded forward by Morgan of Blackpool. Blocks him, tries to help it on its way to Morgan, but Young is there to twist his neck and head the ball back to Palmer. Palmer to Greaves. Now it's with Johnson on the far side. Johnson into Kipre. Kipre up to the halfway line. And again, as Alan was saying, just Blackpool happy to sit back, get back in their shape inside their half of the field and see if Ipswich Town can find a way to break them down. Here is Philogene, certainly a talent that can do that. This time he curls the ball out to the right and Burns. Tuck back to Young. Once again it's with Kipre. Honeyman closes down Greaves. Greaves maintains possession of the ball. Once again Philogene back to Kipre. It's a conundrum for Ipswich Town, this. Young to Clark, another one that can unlock the door. Clark twists one way, then the other, gets down the right hand side of the area, then flicks it to Burns, even further wide, back to Young. First time high, hanging cross towards the far post. Taylor challenges. Johnson was also in there. That's banged up into the clouds by Imre. Honeyman brings it down, but he should be robbed by Philogene, and is. Philogene goes down, then gets back up again, twisting and turning through the legs of Imre. Lovely stuff from Philogene. The crowd appreciated that. Philogene to Taylor, back to Philogene. Philogene shoots towards the near post. Again, a comfortable stop by the keeper.
Yeah, today looks like the day with Blackpool dropping off so deep that you might have to get Philogene isolated. The likes of him, Jack Clark, Westbourne, people who are good at 1v1s, might have to unlock the door for Ipswich today.
On this left-hand side, Hamilton of Blackpool, one of their 2 changes pre-kick-off. He plays it forward to Fletcher. Fletcher holds it up against Greaves. Little back heel to Hamilton, who runs onto the ball, trying to get away from Young. He's going to have the pace to do that. He gets goal side of Young, then goes down. He knew what he was doing. He did the right thing, Hamilton. It's a free kick and a yellow card for Ashley Young. Free kick to Blackpool, 25 yards from goal.
Yeah, right thing by Hamilton there, running across. Ashley Young can't get back. But again, they've done the same movement, getting the ball wide, sucking Ipswich onto them. One centre forward coming short, the other one going long, getting down the sides.
Free kick to Blackpool. Morgan and Hamilton are over it. Town defending the handoff to our left-hand side. Quarter of this FA Cup tie gone, or at least a quarter of the 90 minutes have elapsed. Unlike the League Cup, there would be extra time before penalties this afternoon. Instead, League Cup ties have just gone straight to penalties. We would have an extra half an hour like they had at Wrexham last night if this one's level after 90. Free kick to Blackpool. Morgan puts it into the Ipswich Town area, headed away by the first defender Burns, out as far as Evans, who gets underneath that, and it's high into the crowd over the bar. Goal kick to Ipswich, which Greaves is going to be taking. Gives it back to Alex Palmer. Palmer out to Taylor. Taylor lifts it onto the right thigh of Kipre, just on the edge of the Ipswich penalty area. Up for the Championship Fans Player of the Month, Cedric Kipre for December. He's been doing very well.
He's been excellent since he's come in, since he's made that spot. He's been excellent, and Obviously he's keeping Greaves out, but I think Sidre's been great since he's come in.
The ball breaks nicely for Blackpool. On the far side, Imre trying to get the better of Greaves. Out it goes. What do you make of the news that Cameron Humphreys is off to Huddersfield for the rest of the season, Alan?
Good. Go get some game time. I'm sure Kieran, as he does, will be keeping an eye on it. Cam played a lot last year for Wickham. He's probably gone from not playing all last year and not playing so much this year. So a loan is always good for a young lad. You want them to play football, and then they're ready for him if they need him. I'm sure there'll be a recall if they ever need him. So get out there and get some games.
Hamilton on the left wing for Blackpool, outside the Ipswich area, rolls the ball towards the box to Morgan. Morgan tries to get it back to Hamilton. Brilliant play into the middle. It comes Imre with a shot. What a block from Greaves. Goodness me, Blackpool very close to opening the scoring. Well done, Jacob Greaves.
Great block by Jacob there. He's come out and he's made himself big. I'm just hoping that it's not a well, it's obviously gone now, no VAR here, but they're shouting handball. But good play by Blackpool. It shows that they can move the ball. As we've said, they have got players that have played at a higher level. They've no problem controlling the ball and getting it and moving it.
Really good play. A little dink ball, 1-2 from Morgan back to Hamilton was excellent, and the pull back, he couldn't have done much better, but full credit to Greaves. Fine stuff from Blackpool. Corner kick to Blackpool. Over in the far left corner of Portman Road. Got maybe 5-6 players inside the box off to our left, trying to get the first goal of this FA Cup third round tie. All 10 blue shirts back for Ipswich. One of them heads it away. It's Johnson on the far post to Morgan. Morgan hoists the ball square. Bringing it down well is Imre, under pressure from Clark. Imre down the right hand side. That's a lovely ball to Imre, trying to get infield away from Ashley Young. It was back defending. He's gone down, and the referee's blown up for a free kick to Ipswich Town inside their penalty area, which was much needed in the end.
Yeah, I think that might have just let Ipswich know that Blackpool can play a bit. They're not afraid. They've made a chance now. As I said, they've put in 2 or 3 great crosses. Now they've had a shot there. Good block by Greaves. So I think Ipswich will just be wary now. They'll make them realise Blackpool have a bit of quality about them.
Yeah, inevitably be feeling a bit more comfortable down below. He is full of praise for Ipswich Town, describing them as probably the most informed side in the Championship. Ball over the top from Kipre, looks a good one to Philogene. It's come off Imre for a corner kick to Ipswich. Also described Kieran McKenna as a brilliant coach, the former Bolton manager, who's done well for the most part so far since he returned to Bloomfield Road.
I think that'll also be good for Ipswich, seeing Blackpool getting a bit of confidence, maybe loosening up a little bit, going forward a bit more, might leave gaps in the middle of the pitch and even in behind.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack Clark on his first corner kick of this cup tie. Ipswich Town's third overall. 27 minutes played at Portman Road. We're still goalless. Greaves and Kipre are occupying a couple of tangerine shirts off to our right. In comes the corner kick from Clark to the far stick. Greaves was going for it, and watching it all the way was Fletcher to head it out behind. So it's an Ashley Young corner kick from down the right hand side, the result.
Interesting to see that there's 3 different piece takers. That's what we've seen so far. Usually you'll have the 1 or 2. We've seen Ashley Young take one, Clark, Johnson.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Here is Young on this corner kick for Ipswich Town. Just had a scare at the other end a few moments ago, but can Ipswich Town strike back with the first goal of the afternoon? And it comes from Young. The referee's unhappy with something. There'll be a retake. Young's asking the referee's assistant on the near side exactly what's going on. He was unhappy with something in the Blackpool area.
I never get this with referees. If players are pulling at each other, let it happen. Give the penalty. If you think it's a penalty, then don't be giving them a chance to get away with it. And then if they go and do it again, now the referee's pulled them and he's spoken to them, he has to be on this now. If it happens again, you give the penalty. You can't let them away with it.
Interesting moment for him potentially, Mr. Parsons. Corner kick to Town. Young to take it. 28 gone, 0-0. Right-footed beyond the far post. Up goes Greaves. Greaves with a header across the face of goal, and Taylor from 4 yards out, headed over the bar, just got too much on it.
Yeah, he just looks like he got underneath it, but you can see Ipswich are physically dominant, aren't they, at set plays? So that might be a way of breaking these down.
Goal kick then to Blackpool. Town's best chances have been headers really in this first half. On the left wing, underneath us, Hamilton into Evans. Evans guides a pass to Honeyman. Honeyman gives it to Morgan. 3 good players in midfield for Blackpool. All played at this level, as in the Championship in the past. Imre to Bloxham, wide right, in dives Greaves after Bloxham showed too much of the ball to the town centre half, but Blackpool still come out of it with a throw in outside the Ipswich area, underneath 4 big flags over in the far corner of the Cobbold stand. Evans, good slide rule pass up to Bloxham, to Imre. Imre tries to find Lyons with a first time pass. It's come off Johnson, and Blackpool have a second corner kick of the game.
Yeah, since the 20th minute it's become a bit more even, hasn't it? Blackpool have definitely come into a bit more, showing that quality on the ball. I think Ipswich will want to, maybe step up a gear. They can show that they can get through Blackpool, but I think if they can switch it on a little bit more, they'll get more chances.
Former town midfielder Alan Judge alongside me on BBC Radio Suffolk, watching this game this afternoon. Of course, town at home to one of Alan's former clubs in a week's time. Blackburn Rovers come here when the championship season resumes. Corner kick pulled back for Blackburn, dummied by Imre. The shot from Morgan. The referee's seen something he was unhappy with. Though Blues whistle. It's quite a clever corner kick, but nothing comes of it. It's a town free kick.
I think Honeymoon has to make that a little less obvious next time, not just push Jack Clark over.
It wasn't very subtle, was it? But aside from that, the idea could have worked well. Wasted opportunity from Blackpool's perspective. Ben Johnson, the left back, far side, glides over halfway, gives the ball to Philogene. Hasn't really had a sight of goal just yet, Philogene, not which he would have liked anyway. Cutting in on his right foot. Surely Blackpool will have done their homework and be wary of that. Young on a yellow card, throws the ball back to Kipre. 15 to go in this first half. Neither side on the scoreboard just yet. Philogene, first time in field to Taylor, who dummied the ball to no one. Evans got in there instead for Blackpool. Clark with a heavy touch, then he's caught late by Morgan. The referee says play on because Ipswich have the ball on the right hand side with Burns. Great that he seems to have shaken off that concern that we all had after 13 minutes. Not seen a great deal of the ball since then. Kipre fires the ball between the lines to Matusiwa. He wriggles away from Bloxham. Philogene now one-on-one with Imre, right-footed, crosses into the middle, headed away by a well-positioned Evans. Honeyman gets into trouble. Philogene can't win the ball. Imre hits it long over the top. Great spot to pick out Fletcher. Well done, Ashley Young, though, coming in field and heading the ball back to Palmer. That was important.
Yeah, important challenge there. Good for Young to be on the cover there. I think Ipswich need to look at maybe having more runners in behind. If you look at, they're all coming to feet. We need more runs in behind, I think.
14 to go until half time.
Just to stretch them a little bit more, I think. Make their line drop off, make them disconnect from the midfield, and it'll create the spaces in the middle of the pitch as well.
Imre with this throw in on loan from Crystal Palace. Came through in the non-league ranks, Danny Imre. That's a Romford and Billericay. Spent some time at Chelmsford. Fletcher up towards Bloxham. Ball goes back to Evans, rather, sitting in midfield in front of the back four, allowing Morgan a bit more freedom. Ball in field from Hamilton was risky. Greaves intercepted for Ipswich, then gave it to Clark. Clark turns, switches play to Philogene. Excellent play from Clark. Johnson's overlapping Philogene with a couple of keepy-uppy touches, then another one, then has a go at what would have been the goal of the season. It would have trumped all which had gone before if that one had gone in, but sadly for him and us, it's flown over the bar.
Great play all around. Jacob Greaves reading the play, stepping out, winning the ball back, plain simple to Jack Clark. Great pass to switch the play. And Philogene, as you said, if he would have scored this, would have been goal of the season.
It would have been.
For a few years.
Yeah, it was 3 keepy-uppy touches, the third one over the top of the defender, and then banged over the bar from 25 yards. He has scored some special goals in that 9 already, but that might have been right up there. Kipre with a header, nodded forward by Morgan to Fletcher. Rudely interrupted by Ashley Young, just taking the ball away from Fletcher. Burns goes back to Young, the right back this afternoon. He'll find Jacob Greaves. Greaves along the floor to Johnson, very wide in the left back area, far side now. Philogene goes back towards Greaves. It's great to watch Philogene, isn't he? Playing with so much confidence, Alan, this season.
Yeah, people come to football, they want to see people, especially wingers, 1v1, having a bit of trickery, going by people. But the thing for Philogene at the moment, he seems to know when to pick the right option, either to take on the fullback or else pass it and go.
Been at Ipswich Town around about a year now, Jayden Philogene. Now it's with Young. to Kipre in the centre of Portman Road. Kipre to a central Taylor. Taylor tries to squeeze it through to Akpom, but it's well intercepted by Ashworth. Then the two strikers of Blackpool link up. Evans moves it out to the left-hand side, and Morgan. They play some nice stuff, Blackpool. Down the left-hand side, Morgan comes in field. It's Matusiwa who breaks things up for Town. Now Cedric Kipre. Johnson again for Town, still having the lion's share of possession, but not as dominant as they were in the early skirmishes of this cup tie. We still haven't seen a goal yet so far on BBC Radio Suffolk, with exactly 11 minutes to go until half-time, or at least until the board goes up. Kipre centrally for the home side. Greaves wants it, but Clark gets it. Clark up against Hamilton, back to Kipre, knitting things together. Now he does give the ball to Greaves. Philogene calls for it underneath the Blackpool fans. Quickly moves it on to Johnson, wide left outside the Blackpool box. Back to Philogene, comes in field, crosses towards Burns. Burns goes up, but Hamilton was taller. Akpom picks up the pieces inside the Blackpool area, takes the ball in his chest and gives it back to Clark. Clark, little heel pass back to Young. Clark's back on the ball, gets away from Fletcher, into the box from Johnson. Philogene picks his spot, and it's 1-0 Ipswich Town. Jayden Philogene opens things up, as he has done so many times this season for Ipswich Town. That's his 10th goal, and it's come in the third round of the FA Cup to give Ipswich Town a 1-0 lead over Blackpool.
Great finish, great curl into the bottom corner, but as we spoke a bit earlier on, it may have been about players getting a 1v1. Jack Clark picked up the ball, had a 1v1, went inside, sucked two players towards him, played it at Johnson. There's an overload out wide, perfect pass to Philogene. He just had to put it into the bottom corner, and Philogene continues his great form at home.
All 10 of them at Portman Road. It's only a matter of time before he scores on his travels, maybe at Bramall Lane in a couple of weeks' time, or at Fratton Park in the rearranged game. But 10 goals by this stage of the season for a wide player's a terrific return.
That's regarding Philogene. I think it's a typical thing of signing the player in January last year. Obviously it was the Premier League, but that player has to get used to a new way of playing. And we'll all be honest, he didn't really play too well when he came in last year, but you look at him this year now, he's had a full summer with a difference. What a difference 6 months makes. I know the league is a little bit different, but he's doing it in more or less every game, especially at home. And I imagine his next thing in his mind is, can I do this a lot more away from home?
Kipre up towards Akpom, can't make it stick, but he has done pretty well so far in terms of that part of his job. Great play from Johnson, lovely football to find Philogene. Ipswich Town are rampant. Philogene inside the Blackpool area, might fancy a second goal. No, he did try to get it back unselfishly for Matusiwa, I think it was blocked off, and Blackpool got the ball away. Town needed that goal. Greaves up towards Philogene, just because Blackpool had grown in confidence and asked a few questions of Ipswich. Now it's with Young, albeit Town had been the better side in the opening 35 minutes, but at 0-0 you never know. Lovely play between Clark and Burns. Burns inside the area, right of centre, tries to go low, blocked off behind by Casey, and Town on top at the moment and sensing blood.
Yeah, it seems that Blackpool, since that goal just obviously happened, their structure has kind of gone out the window at the moment. They're a bit stunned at it. I think that played into Ipswich's favour, having Blackpool come out a little bit, got a bit comfortable, and Ipswich made that overload count.
Young with this corner kick for Ipswich, the fifth of this first half. Corner kick Town. Young just pulls up his socks off to our right hand side. Town lead 1-0 against Blackpool. Town have got 6 players in blue in the box off to our right, everyone back in tangerine, and it comes from Young, headed away by Ashworth. And as far as Johnson, that was a lovely bit of play from Johnson a few moments ago to get Philogene away, as Matusiwa just gives it to Clark on the far side. He's enjoying his afternoon, bit of freedom to wander from that number 10 position. Clark. That's been a debating point amongst Town fans about how Kieran McKenna might get both Clark and Philogene into the side.
Well, you can tell that he can play in the number 10 position. Sometimes for a winger coming off that line, playing where he wants to play, taking on players where he wants to take them on, can give him that bit of freedom and a bit more enjoyment than being stuck out on the touchline.
Is that your favourite position, number 10? Do you enjoy that? Ball given away by Blackpool. Akpom finds Philogene. Philogene tries to get into the area. Cleared away though in the end by Blackpool. Alan?
Yeah, just to go back to, definitely. I think everybody kind of knew that. I was asked to do a job while I was here. And I was always one that of the ilk that when the manager made a decision, that's final. And never speak back. But I know times have changed.
Have a little bit. Here is Kipre, Alan Judge with me this afternoon, watching Town leading Blackpool in this FA Cup third round tie. Should Town get there, the next round of this competition is the 14th of February, when Town are scheduled to play Hull in the league. There's no free weekend in terms of fourth round weekend nowadays. Nice play from Kipre to Taylor. Taylor finds Matusiwa. Taylor was taken out of the game when Matusiwa tried to return the 1-2. You might have heard the referee's whistle. Blackpool can't have any complaints. It's a free kick to Ipswich.
They've definitely lost their shape in the last few minutes. Blackpool seems like they're starting out. That's a foul they wouldn't have made just before the goal. Honeymoon did need to make that challenge, and this one looks like it could be Ashley Young, and we've definitely seen him in this position a few times over the years. Yeah,
no Nunez, who would have been all over this.
Be interesting though if Nunez would have been getting this anyway with Ashley Young being on the pitch.
Good chow. Yeah, he's fluffed a few. He got a couple of good ones at QPR, Marcelino Nunez, but recently they haven't been that great. But we know all about the quality that this man has got. This is a major concern for Blackpool with 5 minutes to go until half-time. Ashley Young, Ipswich Town's captain, is over this free kick. Round about 26 yards from goal, fairly central. There's only one thing in the mind of the former Aston Villa and Manchester United player. That's to have a go at making it 2-0 to Ipswich in this cup tie. The referee's still doing a little bit of housekeeping in terms of the Blackpool wall, which is being broken up by Akpom and Kipre. Ashley Young over this free kick for Ipswich Town, leading Blackpool 1-0 in this FA Cup third round tie. Given his quality, this has to be a chance for a second Town goal. He's first in blue. Young gets it up, but it's an easy one for Peacock Farrell to pat down on his goal line.
Yeah, on target. Nice chance, but maybe just didn't connect with it like he would have wanted to.
Blackpool playing it around inside their penalty area. The three blue shirts in there is a little bit risky. They've got away with it at the moment, and then eventually Ashworth does the right thing. He puts his left foot through the ball. Kipre wins the header over the top of blocks, and we didn't necessarily fancy that one. Fletcher wafts at the ball, but Greaves goes in there and makes it his for Town, and he prevents it going out for a throw-in. Ashworth's turned and has to go back to Peacock Farrell, who sweeps it away first time to halfway. 1-0 thanks to Philogene. Town ahead. 4 minutes to go in this first half. Ian Evans will be looking out for the reaction from his players, and at the moment, like Alan was just saying, lost their way a little bit of late. Just need a little bit of possession of the ball. The last thing they need is to go 2-0 down. Blocks them, holds the ball up well, gives it to Morgan. Blackpool trying to get back into this game. The ball came off Greaves, which was important. It was rather unorthodox. Might come off the back of his thigh as he stumbled to the ground, but that was an important interception, Alan.
Yeah, good touch by Greaves, and then obviously Ashley Young was doing what he usually does. He was covering around, so it was an important touch though from Greaves.
Philogene, one-on-one with Imre, just how he wants it. Back towards Johnson. An opportunity for Ben Johnson this, although I guess he is one of the players who might be on the move this month, as Kieran McKenna maybe tries to free up a space or two in his squad if he wants to freshen it up with some new faces. Greaves scoops the ball up, Imre brings it down, Taylor's all over him, then Philogene wins it, the spin of the ball keeps it in. Philogene has it by the corner flag, far side, shimmies away from Imre, runs into trouble and then fouls Honeyman. Free kick behind right back to Blackpool. It's Imre, I think, who's going to be the player who's going to take it. Decent crowd for this cup tie as well. I think tickets were at £10 here this afternoon. Of course, it's one that season ticket holders have to pay for on top, but looks like a crowd of over 20,000. Well, comfortably over 20,000 really, as Peacock Farrell comes out of his penalty area to take this free kick for Blackpool. Final 2 minutes exactly of this half to go. Forward from him. Might be a chance for Imre to get in behind Johnson. Johnson does well. Nudge to the ground. No, the referee says play on. Looked like a foul on Johnson. Good covering again from Greaves. It's out for a corner kick. Immediately Ashley Young runs to the referee to have a bit of a go at him. Johnson went down believing he was about to get a free kick inside his area. A bit of a risky tactic from Johnson. The referee waved play on, and that could have been a really good chance for Imre. It's a corner kick thanks to the alertness of Greaves getting back, but it could have been worse as far as Town are concerned.
Yeah, it could have been. Good awareness from Greaves just to continue on, not looking for the whistle and make that challenge interesting. That's where the players just don't stop, mate. Just keep going until you hear that whistle. It's hard to see from here whether it was a foul or not. It looked like there might have been a little nudge on Johnson.
Corner kick to Blackpool, and it comes headed away by Kipre. Greaves has had a good first half for Ipswich Town. Throw in to Imre, who had that chance for Blackpool a moment ago. Blackpool trying to hit back in this cup tie. Final minute of the first 45. Philogene, the only goal scorer so far. Another crisp right-footed finish from him. And now Blackpool haven't made the most of that throw. It's Ipswich Town's chance to throw the ball in with Johnson on this for them. Yeah, only Kipre, Matusiwa, Philogene and Akpom surviving from Town's last game against Oxford. If you missed the team news earlier on, they've got the likes of Baggett and Barbrook on the bench. Given away by Ashworth. Here come Ipswich Town, 4-on-4. Clark running freely, trying to get it through to Akpom. Lovely play from Clark. Akpom! Saved by Peacock Farrell. Tipped over the bar. A lovely break from Ipswich Town, that one.
Brilliant, quick, decisive. I think Clark has definitely shown that he's not just a winger. That's a great pass. Could have been a simple pass to Wes, but he's done the reverse pass and he's set off Akpom, and great counter-attack and a good pace too.
Yeah, lovely football from Town. Such a good player to watch, Jack Clark. 2 minutes of added on time to be played. Can Ipswich Town score a second goal of the afternoon in these extra couple of minutes? Clark on this corner kick underneath the Blackpool fans over in the far right corner of Portman Road. And it swings from him. Came off a Blackpool head. Blocks him, can't prevent it from going out for a corner on this right-hand side. Town's 7th of this first period.
I think Blackpool will be happy to hear the half-time whistle now over the last few minutes. I think they'll be thinking, get rid of this corner and then regroup.
Yeah, they will, absolutely. I was just thinking that as well. Ian Evatt standing inside his technical area, watching on. 1-0, they're still in it. 2-0, different kettle of fish. Corner kick to Ipswich. It's their 7th of this first half. We're into added on time at the end of it. And it comes from Young off to our right, headed by Kipre, but he got underneath that one and it looked harmlessly wide. But, another headed opportunity, although a difficult one, that one. It's never one he was going to score from, was it?
Yeah, hard. It seems like he was underneath it, and I think Peacock Farrell now is just going to run the clock down and get to half-time.
30 seconds from the interval. Town on top in this cup tie. And I think they scored first at Bromley earlier on this season, if memory serves, before losing on spot kicks. Left-footed clearance from Peacock Farrell. Headed away from the back by Johnson, chested down by Clark. Clark first time trying to get Burns' pace, goal side. Burns is on the ball, wide right. Again, good play from Clark. Burns gives it back to Young. Clark demands the ball in field. He doesn't want half-time to come at the moment, Jack Clark. Back it goes to Young. And then Kipre infield. Kipre to Greaves. Greaves with the ball into the box towards Akpom, who goes down. It comes to Burns. Burns tees up Clark. Clark has a go deflected. Might come to Taylor. Comes to the edge of the area, and it's Johnson with a left-footed effort, which wasn't too far away from that bottom corner of Peacock Farrell's net. But that is half-time, and amongst all of that, Ipswich Town lead this cup tie by 1-0. What did you make of that, Alan Judge?
I think Ipswich is quality told in the end. You know, Blackpool did come out, had a few little chances here and there, and I think that probably put them into a false sense of, let's go a bit more. And when that happened, I think Ipswich, you know, as I said, they got the goal from overloading one area. I think both managers, it sounds weird, will be reasonably happy. I think Evatt will think there's a chance. We've had 1 or 2 chances, we can get another chance. But then McKenna will be thinking, we're playing well, if we just up it a little bit more, we can end this game by 60-70 minutes, is what they'd probably be thinking.
And 10 goals for the season, Jayden Philogene. He's not going to stop there, but that's a cracking tally the first couple of weeks of January, isn't it, for any player in this position?
Especially a winger. He's playing out in the wing, 10 goals. You might as well say just after the new year, he's already in double figures. As I said, the thing for Jayden now is probably thinking, can I score a couple of goals away from home? And what we said, he was bought in January of last year, if I'm right in saying, halfway through the Premier League year. It does take time to get used to what way a manager wants you to play. So, and they're definitely seeing that this year.
What have you made of Jack Clarke in the 10?
I think he'd be loving it. At the minute, he looked like the best player on the pitch at the moment. As in, he's getting the ball. He's showing that he's not just a winger. He was involved in the goal, lined up their midfielder 1v1, went past him, and then there he is finding nice true balls for a number 10. So he's doing both sides of the game.
And what about the threat from Blackpool?
They've got to be careful. Ipswich just have to be careful. You can see that Blackpool from the goal kicks are trying to suck Ipswich onto them, get it out to the full-backs, and typical old-style football, I would say. One striker short, one striker in behind, and that's how they've had their 2 or 3 crosses in.
Well, Ipswich Town in a good position, lots of work still to be done. Nobody taking anything for granted in terms of Ipswich Town when it comes to cup competitions. But after the first 45 of this FA Cup third round encounter, thanks to Jayden Philogene, Ipswich Town lead Blackpool by 1-0.
4 results already from today in the FA Cup third round. Leicester through, 2-0 winners at Cheltenham. Patson Daka and Steffi Mavididi with the goals. Everton won, Sunderland won. The Black Cats through on penalties. They won the shootout 3-0 at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. So Sunderland through to round 4, as are Wolves. 6-1 winners at home to Shrewsbury. And Macclesfield of the National League North have given us the headline of the third round so far. They have knocked out the holders Crystal Palace by 2-1 during our half-time break. We'll hear from one of their goal scorers this afternoon, Isaac Buckley-Ricketts. And the 3 o'clock kickoffs, Burnley are comfortable at home to Millwall 3-0. Southampton 3-0 up away at Doncaster. Middlesbrough of the Championship have the lead away at Premier League side Fulham. Hayden Hackney with the only goal of the game so far. Keane Lewis Potter for Brentford. They're 1 up at Sheffield Wednesday. Stoke and Coventry goalless in an all-Championship clash. Manchester City have put 4 past Exeter and are comfortable this afternoon. Newcastle and Bournemouth are goalless. Burton Albion 2-0 up away at Boreham Wood. And one more 3 o'clock kick-off. Salford City 0, Swindon Town 0, the later score. 4 games kick off at 5:45 in the Cup this afternoon, including an all Premier League tie at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium with Aston Villa, the visitors. Liam Rossini in charge of Chelsea for the first time. Later today, the Blues kick off away at Charlton at 8 o'clock. We'll be around the grounds locally in just a moment. We have non-league matches at Leiston and AFC Sudbury covered this afternoon.
It's time for more of this.
Are you serious?
The Traitors Uncloaked is the only place you'll see players react as they find out who's been deceiving them.
I knew it!
It's the only place for official behind-the-scenes deep dives into the latest plot twists.
That is brilliant!
And it's the only place where we chat to famous fans and players from series gone by.
I wouldn't want to be a traitor.
Oh, it's the best part. Oh, that's what a traitor would say.
Yeah.
The Traitors Uncloaked, the official visualised companion podcast with me, Ed Gamble. Watch on iPlayer, listen for more on BBC Sounds.
It's match day on BBC Radio Suffolk and BBC Sounds this afternoon. Ipswich Town leading Blackpool by 1-0 in our main feature, the FA Cup third round at Portman Road. Jayden Philogene with the only goal of the game. We'll bring you first half highlights shortly. Around the grounds locally in just a moment. Let's hear more, though, about 6th tier Macclesfield, who've pulled off the biggest FA Cup giant killing in the competition's history, you could say. The National League North side have beaten the holders and Premier League side Crystal Palace 2-1 at the Moss Rose. Goals from Paul Dawson and Isaac Buckley-Ricketts, helping them become the first 6th-tier side to knock out a top-flight side. 27-year-old former Manchester City academy player Buckley-Ricketts spoke afterwards with the BBC's Gary Flintoff.
Isaac, many congratulations. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very good right now, honestly. It's still not setting yet. Slowly but surely it is, because look around, everybody's feeling the same way. Winning the FA Cup, it's a moment that it rarely comes across, so if you actually get to win it, it's just a real feeling.
I mean, you have actually just beaten the FA Cup holders. I mean, can that even sort of formulate in your brain at this stage?
Yeah, when you put it like that, it does sound a bit, but we are footballers at the end of the day, so our aim is to win the game. You do look at it like, the Premier League players and whatnot, but once we get across that white line, 11 men against 11 men. We see what happens in the end, and we've always put our best foot forward and ended up with a win. So,
well, talking about your best foot forward, what about that goal? I mean, talk about slow motion. But did you sense as soon as you got the touch, you got enough on it?
Yeah, honestly, it was instinctive. I just seen it coming across, and I thought, I need to get contact on this. And it did come off my foot, and I thought, have I got enough on it? Glanced up, and I seen the keeper still stuck to his spot, so I thought, it's going in this. And it actually did, so... Yeah.
I mean, great scenes off the back of that. But just let me ask, I mean, obviously, first half, they had 1 or 2 openings, but you didn't really ask too many questions. But what did the goal from Paul Dawson do for you going into the break to be 1 goal up at half-time?
Honestly, because prior to the goal, we did feel solid. But with them being high-standard team, high quality, there's always that moment of, if you do relax and concentration, they'll take advantage. So that goal itself just literally gave us a massive boost. An extra pair of lungs, if you would say, you know. So, yeah.
And you closed it out at the end, and there is that sense, isn't there? I mean, you've got all these fans who come week in, week out. It's a great day for them. It's a great day for you, and there's just a sense of joy, but sort of a surreal feeling about the whole day.
And it's a family feeling, because you know everyone's here together with David versus Goliath kind of feeling to it. So to really experience this right now, and it's setting in now as you're asking me the questions, I can feel it more and more.
How do you celebrate? The chairman's taking you to Ibiza, isn't he?
I don't know about yet. It's not over yet, you know. We've still got another game to go, so we'll leave the fires on hold until it's all finished. But yeah, honestly, we're just going to gather around and enjoy the moment for what it is, and not think too far ahead. Take in the moment, and you know, unless I'm lost for words right now, but yeah.
What a day for goal scorer Isaac Buckley-Ricketts and his teammates at Macclesfield of the National League North, beating Crystal Palace in the FA Cup third round this afternoon. Buckley-Ricketts there chatting with the BBC's Gary Flintoff. Elsewhere, as far as non-league football is concerned, we have a fair few games on in Suffolk this afternoon. We're at a couple of them in the Southern Premier League Central Division. Let's go to the Elite Travel Stadium first of all, where AFC Sudbury are taking on Bishop Stortford. Nick Garnham with a half-time report.
It's AFC Sudbury 0, Bishop Stortford 2, and 2 goals in the space of 6 minutes have left AFC Sudbury with it all to do in the second half if they're going to get anything from this game. The visitors had twice seen efforts cleared off the line before they went ahead after 20 minutes. Charlie Lewis was in the right place to deny Victor I in the 5th minute, as was Sky Salmon from Salim Akimbi's header after 19 minutes. But Bishop Stortford did get their lead just a minute later. Obi Onyegwara's right-wing cross picked out Charlie Castle, and although he scuffed his shot, the ball fell to Akambi, who stroked home past Lennon McClurg. And it got worse for the Suffolk side in the 26th minute, as Onyegwara was given acres of space on the left wing to bear down on goal and pick his shot inside the far post. The hosts have also had their chances, Callum Page twice firing wide of the target, and Liam Pearce forcing smart saves from keeper Adam Hayton. But they will have to improve defensively in the second period, as Bishop Stortford have broken through on goal all too easily and will fancy adding to their tally. Half-time score at the Elite Travel Stadium, AFC Sudbury 0, Bishop Stortford 2.
Thanks, Nick. It's not quite half-time just yet in our other featured game in the Southern Premier League this afternoon, but Stephen Foster can update us as to how things are going for Leiston at home to Kettering. Foz?
Yes, it's Leiston 1 at Kettering nil. That goal coming after 24 minutes through young striker Ronnie Blois, his 5th of the season. He headed in from close range. He had an eternity, it seemed, to actually head the ball in, so I'm glad he did and didn't miss it, because it really was an easy chance for him, but he had to be in the right place. I mean, he could have lit a cigar and smoked it by the time the ball actually met his forehead and went in the back of the net. It was all in slow motion, really, it seemed. But that was great news for Leiston, who I have to say have been under the cosh since. This Kettering side have had several efforts on goal. The reason we're still playing this first half, and we've gone well over 9 minutes into time added on, is because the game was delayed at the kickoff after 55 years of watching football. I thought I'd seen it all, but Leiston had to change their usual red socks because the visitors are wearing theirs. So obviously the visitors hadn't got a change of kit, I wouldn't have thought. So Leiston had to change into blue socks. So the game was delayed by 9 minutes. And really it's been quite a frantic game ever since. There have been a couple of stoppages as well, hence all this added time. But it is now half-time. And Leiston can thank themselves very lucky indeed that they are leading by 1-0, because the opponents, also in the mid-table, have missed some absolute sitters towards the end of the first half. But everyone's gone in for a cup of tea now to warm up on this very chilly afternoon, and hopefully we'll see a better game of football in the second half. The half-time score then, Leiston 1, Kettering 0.
Thank you, Foz. 4 games in the Isthmian North of note this afternoon. Lowestoft's match with Walthamstow called off earlier today, but Felixstowe Walter United, second of the table, are 1-0 up away at Downham Town. Newmarket trailing 1-0 at home to Tilbury. At Mildenhall, a goalless away at Grays, and Brantham Athletic are goalless at home to Takeley. Just away from football, the 8 times Masters snooker champion Ronnie O'Sullivan has pulled out of this year's tournament on medical grounds. It gets underway tomorrow with the defending champion Sean Murphy in action. O'Sullivan's place will now be taken by Chris Wakelin, who faced Neil Robertson in the first round on Wednesday. And Ipswich and Bury St Edmunds women's hockey players have returned to outdoor action today for their first fixtures of 2026. Wins for both. Ipswich beating St Albans 5-1, at Bury St Edmunds 4, Upminster 2 at Colford School. We're back at Portman Road in just a moment.
Town attacking the goal off to the right-hand side. The former England international has his right hand in the air next to the tunnel. Forward he comes, it's an away swinger, headed towards goal by Kip Bray, tipped over the bar by Peacock Farrell. Imre is robbed of the ball by Philogene. Town on the counter-attack, still work to be done up to the halfway line. In from Philogene to Clark, a rest up for those two together. Clark gets it back to Philogene, through to Burns, a great chance for a goal from Wes Burns. He stumbles at the last moment, seemed to be caught in a couple of minds, made a mess of it, and it's out wide. Philogene to Taylor, back to Philogene. Philogene shoots towards the near post. Again, a comfortable stop by the keeper. Hamilton on the left wing for Blackpool, outside the Ipswich area, rolls the ball towards the box to Morgan. Morgan tries to get it back to Hamilton. Brilliant play into the middle. It comes Imre with a shot. What a block from Greaves. Goodness me, Blackpool very close to opening the score, and well done, Jacob Greaves. Corner kick to Town, Young to take it. 28 gone, 0-0. Right-footed beyond the far post. Up goes Greaves. Greaves with a header across the face of goal, and Taylor from 4 yards out. Headed over the bar, just got too much on it. Greaves intercepted for Ipswich, then gave it to Clark. Clark turns, switches play to Philogene. Excellent play from Clark. Johnson's overlapping Philogene with a couple of keepy-uppy touches, then another one. Then has a go at what would have been the goal of the season. It would have trumped all which had gone before if that one had gone in, but sadly for him and us, it's flown over the bar. Clark's back on the ball, gets away from Fletcher, into the box from Johnson. Philogene picks his spot, and it's 1-0 Ipswich Town. Jayden Philogene opens things up as he has done so many times this season for Ipswich Town. That's his 10th goal, and it's come in the third round of the FA Cup to give Ipswich Town a 1-0 lead over Blackpool. Given away by Ashworth. Here come Ipswich Town 4-on-4. Clark running freely, trying to get it through to Akpom. Lovely play from Clark. Akpom saved by Peacock Farrell, tipped over the bar. A lovely break from Ipswich Town, that one.
When I first met Dave, we were inseparable. I loved the way he talked to me. He made me feel so special. But now, I think he spends more time on his phone.
Hey, smart speaker.
Hold on, did he just say my name? Yes, Dave, I'm listening.
Play BBC Radio Suffolk.
Oh, Dave, I knew you still loved me. Playing BBC Radio Suffolk.
Thank you for listening to BBC Radio Suffolk on your smart speaker. Good to have you with us.
Just say, play BBC Radio Suffolk.
We're on air till 6 with Matchday. Your calls welcome at full time on the usual number, 0800 141 2121. Hopefully you'll be speaking to me and Alan Judge about an Ipswich Town win in the third round of the FA Cup. Let's get back to Portman Road, where Jayden Philogene's goal has given them a 1-0 lead at home to Blackpool.
Yeah, and the two sets of players out here. Still a few stewards and subs out there as well, so start of the second half isn't imminent, but can't see any changes. Looking down at the two benches from the 22 that started this game, Town made 7 changes ahead of the game. They lined up like this from 3 o'clock, and what looks like they're about to line up again. Palmer in the goal now off to our right. A back four of Young, Kipre, Greaves and Johnson. Matthew Siwa alongside Taylor in midfield, and it's Burns, Clark and Philogene. Philogene the goal scorer behind Akpom. Young incidentally on a yellow card. On the bench, Button, Baggett, Davis, Nunez, McAteer, Athon, Eggerly, Barbrook and Smodix. Blackpool in the all tangerine kit have Peacock, Farrell between the sticks off to our left. A back three of Lyons, Casey and Ashworth. I think it's Evans who's been sitting in midfield, and a four of Imre, Morgan, Honeyman and Hamilton up front. Bloxham and Fletcher. On the bench, Ravizoli, Brown, Ennis, Bowler, Banks, Finnegan, Upton, Knight and Nwankwo. Players I guess we're most likely to see from their perspective are Ennis and Bowler, potentially maybe Banks as well, to try to turn around this 1-0 deficit. So Town in blue, white, blue, playing from right to left for hopefully the last 45 minutes of this cup tie, as long as of course Ipswich Town are winning after 90 minutes. I say that, just a reminder, this one has to be done and dusted on the day. No chance of us being at Bloomfield Road the midweek after next. That's it in the FA Cup nowadays. Just trying to mitigate the number of games played in modern football. Greaves inside the Ipswich Town half, gives the ball square to Kipre, quickly moves it to Johnson on the halfway line. Johnson back to Kipre in the centre circle. Town, like they did at the start of this game, having plenty early possession. Young hangs it forward, looking for Akpom. Defended away by the League One side who've never won here. Blackpool. Town have won 8 of the previous 14 meetings on this pitch. In the centre circle is Kipre. He then gives it to Young. Young forward to Jack Clark. Last time these two sides met was in the 2021 season. Town won 4-1 at Bloomfield Road and then 2-0 here. Philogene nutmegs Lyons. Free kick for the foul on Philogene, edge of the area. And you were one of the goal scorers in that game. Luke Wolfenden and a certain Alan Judge scored in that 2-0, didn't you?
Yeah, seems like a long time ago that. How many years is that now? You're saying 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, 2021 season. Ooh. That was, yeah, 5 years ago.
Yeah, COVID times. Yeah, seems like a long time ago now.
And the late Lincoln winner, I remember. That was your first Ipswich goal, wasn't it?
It was.
In the FA Cup at Sinsel Bank.
I had to wait a while for that, and I didn't realise that Ipswich at the time hadn't won an FA Cup game for such a long time.
Massive, yeah, exactly. We were all set for penalties and you were the hero. I remember that late goal, jumping in with the fans as well, I seem to recall in the celebration.
I think I was dragged in.
Free kick to Ipswich outside the Blackpool area, and it comes from Johnson. Good delivery as far as Young, and his effort is deflected over the bar by Lyons. Had he not been in the way, I think Peacock Farrell was beaten and it was 2-0. As it was, Blackpool are still in this tie because it's still only 1-0.
Good delivery by Johnson there. Decent header away, and Ashley Young did really well to keep on target, and a good block.
Yeah, Farrell wasn't getting to that. Wasn't the cleanest of efforts from Young, but had enough power on it, and the goalkeeper wasn't going to be able to travel far enough to stop it. So Lyons did his job. Corner kick to Ipswich. First one of this second half, their 8th overall. The referee wants to sort something out inside the Blackpool penalty area beforehand. He's given a yellow card to Wes Burns, who can't believe it. He's smiling. Lee Evans is smiling at him as well. Two former colleagues. It seemed a bizarre one. Oh, it's a shove. He's thrown Honeyman into the net, Burns.
I know Wes is strong, but he's not that strong to push him over like he's fell on the floor there.
Yeah, he went down rather dramatically, didn't he, Honeyman? Burns still having his say. Clark, one of Town's best players in that first half, on this corner kick off to our left, and he knocks it right-footed towards Kipre. The overhead from Taylor is missed, and it's whacked away by Blackpool to the far side. Young, the right back, tucks it back to Matthew Siwa. So often the deepest lying outfield player from set pieces in the attack in third. Matthew Siwa is now back on the ball. Of course, his first taste of FA Cup football this afternoon, as of Matthew Siwa. Played at Christmas the first time a couple of weeks ago. New to him, having played in France and Holland. Now he's experiencing the oldest domestic cup competition in the world for the first time. Town leading 1-0. Kipre, lovely ball through to Taylor. He couldn't control it. Oh, so unlucky. Beautiful play from Kipre.
I think, as you said, going back to Matt Desiwa, that's why I was surprised to see him in the starting lineup. It was his first time playing through Christmas, playing that many games. I thought he might have been given a bit of a breather today.
He'll get his breather when his 2-game ban comes, one would have thought. He's on 9 yellows. Town after this, I mentioned Blackburn in a week's time earlier on. They've got Bristol City here a week on Tuesday. I wonder who might be in that Bristol City midfield that evening. A certain Sam Morsey, potentially. I wonder if he's making his first appearance or first start for Bristol City in the FA Cup this weekend.
I'm being selfish here. I'm hoping Matt Desiwa isn't suspended by the time that game comes, because I'd love to see them two go at it in midfield.
Be terrific, won't it? What a battle that will be. And what an ovation he'll get when he comes back here, Sam Morsey, I'm quite sure.
Rightly so.
Maybe until his first challenge, but yeah, unbelievably popular character here for what he did for Ipswich Town.
Yeah, I'll go from cheers to boos after his first challenge, I reckon.
Yeah, it will, won't it? You can just see that. And he'll love all of that.
He will.
Philogene back to Greaves. Town 1-0 up, 5 minutes gone in the second half. Kipre again. Definitely a defender that can pass the ball. We've seen that a few occasions since he joined the club, and he did it there. Young fizzes the ball up to Taylor. That's what I like to see. Taylor's done well to the right hand side. Burns taking on his man. Burns overhits his cross, and out it flies behind. Burns will be forgiven for anything this afternoon. Town fans understandably just chuffed to see him back in a starting lineup, and he's a player that can play a part over the second half of the season. Wes Burns, can't he, Alan?
Definitely. Thing with Wes, he's naturally fit as well. He can get up and down the line. I think people saying that over the years that he's been here. So for Wes, it'll be just getting your touch right, getting back to the, that little bit of sharpness. It does take a while, but it'll be great.
Peacock Farrell, long ball downfield. Hamilton's in on goal. A chance for a 1-1. Oh, good save from Palmer. That was on target. Wow, that really was back to front stuff from Blackpool, and it was almost very effective. Evans stretches in midfield, the ball breaks to Clark, it's end to end. Ipswich coming over halfway with Jack Clark. We'll analyse the Hamilton chance in a moment. Clark switches play well to Philogene, one just inside the Blackpool area, tries to flick a little cross into the middle, blocked off by a visiting defender, and Philogene then slides in and wins a good challenge on Imrie, and it goes for a throw-in, but that's a real chance for Blackpool.
It is, it's just what we've been speaking about, isn't it? Blackpool don't mind going long. It's that ball again, long ball getting caught out. It's a great ball by Peacock Farrell, to be honest.
It was a lovely
Hamilton's
pass.
just got inside him, hasn't he?
Took it
good
well,
save.
Hamilton. Yeah, it was. Couldn't have done anything else, Hamilton. He did nothing wrong. It was certainly fizzing towards the far corner, but well done, Palmer. I'd be delighted if he can keep a clean sheet on his return to the side. Given away by Johnson to Honeyman. Then Evans pings it off Fletcher. Taylor dinks it into a gap. Akpom 30 yards from goal. Akpom loses the ball to Morgan, passed away by Hamilton to Evans. Evans gives it straight to Taylor though. Taylor for Ipswich has a go and pulls his shot wide. It was a fizzer along the deck. Peacock Farrell stretched off to his right hand side but didn't have to make the stop. It's a goal kick.
It's good from Taylor, as we said in the first half. He likes to have a shot from outside the box. I don't see anything wrong with that, because I think a lot of teams try to walk the ball into the goal a lot lately, and that's not a bad shot.
7.5 minutes gone in the second half at Portman Road. Town still lead 1-0 this FA Cup tie. If you want to have a chat to Alan Judge afterwards, 0800 141 2121 there's the phone number. Graham taking your calls when I go downstairs to chat to Kieran McKenna. You can also text your thoughts 81333, start those SFK, or WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Again, pop SFK at the start of those. And if you want to join me on Monday's Blue Hour show, Brenner at bbc.co.uk is the email. Lovely play from Town down the right hand side. Fantastic pass from Young, showing all of his quality. Burns inside the Blackpool area, pulls it back to Taylor. Taylor gives it to Clark. What a goal this would be. Clark tiptoes around a couple of players, then fires a shot, and it comes to Johnson. Johnson has a go from 20 yards but puts it over the bar. But again, really nice play from the home team.
Yeah, great play, getting Wes isolated out wide. Full-back thinking he's going to cross it, he's cut it back. Good play by Taylor, and just unlucky, and then Johnson's had a swing at it and just couldn't keep it on target.
Yeah, those two home games for Town. Blackburn here in a week's time. Sick of the sight of Blackburn this season. Then it's Bristol City I mentioned. After that, a couple of weeks' time, Town go to Sheffield United. That's obviously going to be a tough away game. Then Preston come here. The rearranged game at Portsmouth and then away to Derby. That's the next half dozen games for Ipswich Town.
It'll be interesting to see how long they play Wes for today, coming back from his injury. I would expect you won't 65 minutes to see how long he plays, just to protect him. The last thing you want him was picking up a little niggle.
Town have got McAteer and Eggly on the bench. No Kayuste or Furlong or Walton at all having the day off completely this afternoon. I'll be back unavailable for next Saturday against Blackburn, a better away side than a home side this season, Blackburn Rovers. There is Young back to Kipre. 3 years since Blackpool last reached round 4, 14 years since they went beyond that. Poor from Johnson, giving the ball away to Bloxham, one back by Greaves, but in flies Honeyman. The loose ball goes to Clark. He's enjoying his afternoon. Clark to the right hand side, and it's Burns, the step over. Can't get away from Hamilton just yet. Hamilton bites back and the ball's out for a corner to Town, their second of the second half.
You could definitely see Wes has grown in confidence now. That's 2 or 3 times he's taken on the full back. He's going back to taking him on, which is good to see.
Young on this corner for Town. Exactly 10 minutes gone in the second half. No further goals in this FA Cup tie. Available short is Clark, but I think at the moment Young's far more likely to plant it straight into the penalty area off to our left hand side. That's what he's going to do, and it comes to the edge of the box, brought down by Taylor on his left thigh. Shapes closed down by a Blackpool defender. Ball breaks out to Greaves on the left hand side. Greaves back to Philogene right footed, puts a cross in towards Kipre, but it's caught by Peacock Farrell before the big centre half could make an impression. Blackpool at left back. Hamilton forward towards Morgan, closed down by Kipre, who's here, there and everywhere in the half off to our left. Here's Young with a throw in for Town. Clark gives it back to the captain. Now Matusiwa. Guess in an ideal world, if Town can get goals 2 and 3, Matusiwa would be rested towards the end of this one, but at the moment he's kind of needed out there.
I would imagine that's in Kieran's thinking. Hopefully if they can get the second or third goal that he can give him the rest.
Matusiwa touches on, looking for Akpom. Knocked away by Blackpool out as far as Palmer, who has been involved in this game. He's done well. A couple of punches away in the first half when his goal was at threat, and then that good save from Hamilton earlier on in this second period. Still 3.5 minutes away from the hour mark. A lot of football still to be played. Greaves with a good looking ball forward to Akpom, takes it on his chest, wide left outside the Blackpool area. It's good from Akpom. Back it goes to Ben Johnson to Matusiwa, to Philogene, back to Matusiwa. Philogene's in, almost. Clark into the area. Burns left footed, closed down, it breaks back to Matusiwa. Up towards Philogene. Philogene controls the ball, edge of the box, gives it back to Greaves. He was caught late, Philogene. The referee's played a good advantage. Greaves down the left-hand side, back to Philogene. Blackpool now appealing for a foul on Imre. It's not been given. He's on the deck. The referee's done the right thing. Doesn't have to stop play. It's not a head injury. Philogene running square. Slips a pass to Clark. Clark out to the right-hand side. And Burns in front of the cobbled stand. Clark on to Young. Young's onside. Blocked off and out behind by Ashworth for a corner to Town. There was some lovely play from Ipswich a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, they've definitely upped it since half time. They've gone up a gear, haven't they? I agree with Philogene there. Don't put the ball out of play. To be honest with you, I'm sick of seeing players lying on the ground faking injury. As we've seen the other night, probably in the Arsenal-Liverpool game, though, that is an exception. You know when someone's actually injured and when they're not.
Headed away by the Blackpool backline as far as Matusiwa. Yeah, they're moving it around quickly. Blackpool just can't deal with it. Not that most Championship clubs could either. Clark to Philogene. Philogene has a go with his left foot. It is deflected out for a goal kick. It's come off an Ipswich Town player last. So there's a bit of a conversation going on off the Blackpool bench. They're maybe thinking about freshening things up. I said just after half-time, Bolo would be an obvious one to come into the midfield rank somewhere, an attacking player.
It'd be
striker.
Sorry, Brennan. It'd be interesting to see why he didn't play. I don't know if he's been carrying a niggle or anything like that, because he is a very good dribbler of the ball. He's a decent player as well, so I think they'll be looking towards him.
Hamilton might have got him behind, but Palmer is there. It was a mistake by Kipre, just misjudged the flight, and then he's overcooked that pass over on the far side. It's out for a throw into Blackpool at left back. As Ian Evatt speaks to one of his coaches down below us. 370th game as a manager. Ian Evatt, very experienced now.
It'll be interesting to see when Blackpool do make that switch of.
Given away by Blackpool, a mistake. Philogene has the ball, blocked off by Lyons, and then it's out behind for a corner kick. That was almost fatal as far as their chances of staying in the cup go, but they got away with it. It's only a corner to Town.
I was just in the middle of saying it'll be interesting to see when Blackpool make that switch of being so deep, and when they're going to go a bit, press a bit higher on Ipswich, because they're going to have to go for it soon enough. There's only a half an hour left or so.
Corner kick to Ipswich Town. It's their 11th of this cup tie, and we've only played an hour. 1-0 they lead. Clark on this latest set piece off to our left hand side, plays it towards the far post. Greaves is up there, so to the back line of Blackpool. Young feeds the ball out to the left hand side, and Clark, good play from the captain. Clark one-on-one with Imrie, gets the edge of the box, gives it back to Johnson. Johnson looks up, in comes his cross, headed towards goal. Ping-pongs around in there, but come back to Taylor, cleared away by Blackpool just as Taylor was setting himself. First change is going to be made from the visitors bench. Matthew Siwa drills a pass to Johnson. Clark into the centre circle, finds Ashley Young. Now it's with Greaves. Johnson playing with gloves on, live on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport. It said Brown, who is the first player, Jordan Brown, a midfielder, who's going to be coming on for the visitors as they try to get themselves back into this game. So that one season in the Premier League, 2010-2011, Blackpool under Ian Holloway. What an achievement that was to get promoted to that level. It's their third season in League One. They've actually had one season in League Two since their Premier League days. Just trying to rebuild. Akpom holding off the challenge of Ashworth and going back to the centre spot. Kipre along the floor to Greaves. Greaves up to Philogene, tries a little flick on to Taylor in an advanced position. Taylor slides in, fouls his man Lyons. Here comes the change. That's it for Lee Evans' afternoon. He's going off to be replaced by Jordan Brown in a like-for-like switch, and he'll get a good round of applause from all inside Portman Road Lee Evans when the Town fans realise he's applauding all four sides of Portman Road. It's always nice to see.
Yeah, he definitely had, he did, in the past he's helped the club massively as well. He's part of the team that went up. Very good player as well. As you've seen today, if you do give him time, he can hurt you.
Kieran McKenna applauding him as well and giving him a hug as he came off. That's classic Kieran McKenna behaviour. Nice to see, on that relatively short list of midfielders that have scored hat-tricks for this club, the likes of John Walk and Jim Magilton, Grant Ward. Haven't been too many down the years. That was a terrific night against Doncaster, I remember, for Ipswich, and most of all for Lee Evans. I think even he was surprised by that evening. I remember speaking to him down the tunnel afterwards. Very unassuming, very humble character, Lee Evans. Nice to see him back at Portman Road. I think he said in one of his interviews in the North West he was the only one in the Blackpool squad that was excited by this particular draw. Understandably, I think it's a 560-mile round trip for their 1,000 supporters. So like 20 coaches laid on free of charge by a local company. I saw something in the news yesterday about, which is
that's brilliant.
Nice touch, isn't it? Yeah, here is Kipre, and they've seen a decent performance from their side as well against the informed team in the Championship, as their manager described Ipswich Town. But Town's still ahead. Nice to get a second goal though. Kipre up towards Akpom, nicely off from Akpom to Philogene. Philogene sets himself, and that right footer just didn't have enough bend on it from 25 yards. It was narrowly wide of the post.
Yeah, typical Philogene. Their players backing off, and great play, good play from Sidre, or from Kipre into Akpom. Might to see who made a good run. Jaden used that run, cut inside and had a shot. Just unlucky, couldn't curl it into the corner.
So no, still no sign of any changes from the Ipswich Town bench as Peacock Farrell goes for a little dribble inside his area, then goes long towards Hamilton, trying to utilise his pace and behind again. Almost had some joy earlier on in the half. Clark robs Brown, the substitute. Clark inside the Blackpool area, surely a chance for 2-0. Goes square to Philogene, who slipped. 8 yards from goal, and his effort has come off a Blackpool player for a corner kick, but another big chance for 2-0.
Big chance. Philogene's probably going to come away now at the end of this game thinking I could have had a hat-trick, let alone 2 goals.
Exactly. Could have had his second hat-trick of the season quite easily, and still might, I guess, but not on that occasion. There's still just 1-0. Nunez seems to have taken off his tracksuit bottoms and is warming up vigorously. Athon's also out there, I think Leif Davis as well. Corner kick to Ipswich, and it comes from Clark towards the near post, volleyed out behind. That wasn't the intention from the Blackpool player, relatively untroubled. It was just a misconnection. That is 13 corner kicks for Ipswich Town. This one played short to Johnson. Back it goes to Young, who has a go. Wasn't too far away, just didn't have enough dip on it. It's into the crowd.
No, it'll be interesting to see if Kieran's thinking of making changes. I think if there would have been 2-0 by now, he would have made those couple of changes.
Just for the minute, though, wants to make certain, or as certain as he can do, that Ipswich Town are progressing in this competition. He's always won at least one FA Cup tie in each of his seasons in charge. He's never gone out at the first hurdle. Kieran McKenna, and at the moment, he's continuing that run. As Bloxham goes into Kipre, who's been caught. Kipre's in quite a bit of pain. I don't know whether it's actually Fletcher who's caught him. The referee's concerned. Well, that's a stud that's cut him in some way, shape or form. Seems to be holding just above his right ear, Cedric Kipre. Totally accidental clash with Fletcher.
Yeah, but just looking at it there, I think it's coming together. Fletcher hasn't gone in with any malice there. I think he's just trying to hold him off, and it's just unlucky for Kipre. He's got one on a cold evening. I
was just going to say, it's the time of year hasn't helped on his cold ears.
No.
He's caught a loose elbow from Fletcher. He's up and he's okay. Johnson, short down the left line to Philogene, who will be desperate to stay on Philogene. You can see more goals than this for him. Imre climbs high enough and heads the ball away from Philogene. Johnson intercepts. Blackpool get it back, but then lose it once again. Philogene plays it off Imre. Imre somehow kept the ball in. That was a messy little bit of play. Blackpool have come away with the ball in the end. Not for long, though. In steps Johnson. And then Bowler is about to come on. A player that you mentioned earlier on, Alan. He is a good player, Josh Bowler. Taylor onto Akpom. Now with Johnson. Johnson tries to feed it to Akpom inside the area. He's managed to do that in the left channel. Back out of the box it comes to Johnson. Square to Taylor. Taylor on first time. Akpom to Johnson. Johnson into the middle, cleared away by Blackpool. Only as far as Philogene. The crowd want him to shoot immediately. Philogene's held on to it. Then picks out a pass to Johnson inside the box. Matusiwa to the left-hand side and Greaves. 67 on the clock. 1-0 Ipswich. Greaves ball looking for Matusiwa, who's got himself forward. Goes all the way through to Peacock Farrell.
It'd be interesting to see where Bowler comes on, obviously, because he's a typical out-and-out winger. They're not really pressing high, Blackpool, and Bowler will want to be receiving the ball in Ipswich's half, not in his own half.
Hamilton trying to get goal side of Young. He's inside the Ipswich Town area, CJ Hamilton. He tries to go square. Ball breaks to Fletcher, deflected over the top from Jacob Greaves again, but that again so close to 1-1. Well done, Greaves.
I think that's a second big block today.
Yeah.
Again, though, it's that long ball over the top. They seem to be pinpointing that side of the pitch, don't they? That long ball from Peacock Farrell. That's a great block, by the way.
Brilliant, Greaves. He's had a really good game. Palmer might have got it, but I'm not totally convinced. He's prevented 2 goals, Jacob Greaves, in this game. It's given Blackpool hope. Kieran McKenna just pulls up his zip over his chin down below us, watching on nervously. Blackpool are doing an Arsenal corner kick. All the tangerine shirts beyond the far post, and it swings, punched away by Palmer, controlled by Imre inside the area. Imre hammers it in, it comes off at Taylor. It was on target, could have caused problems. Corner kick again.
Yeah, good pound by Palmer there. That's what you want. You want your keeper to be able to command his box. He's got a fist onto it. Just got to ride this little bit of a wave that Blackpool are having. You don't want to give them any encouragement, do we?
68 minutes played live on BBC Radio Suffolk. This FA Cup tie is still alive. The noise coming from the 1,000 that have travelled down from the northwest, believing their side can get something from this game and still progress, even though they're 1-0 down. Morgan with this corner kick, headed away by Greaves, out as far as Honeyman. Honeyman dinks it in, nodded away by Taylor, then Philogene. Akpom tries to control it under pressure. He loses the ball, but he was fouled. And then Ashworth kicked the ball away from Taylor as he wanted to take a quick free kick. When it all settles down, it'll be a Town free kick. And Bowler can come on and replace Bloxham.
Yeah, Ipswich just have to be careful that long ball. That seems to be the one that's causing them trouble. That long ball in behind, not picking up that second ball.
Back for a third spell at Blackpool, Josh Bowler, player that Everton paid £1.5 million to QPR for when he was a young teenager. Seen as a player with real potential, and went to Nottingham Forest for nearly £2.5 million. Played for Cardiff in that game that Town lost late on a couple of years ago in South Wales. And another one with a fair bit of championship experience, somebody who could conjure something up here for Blackpool.
Seems like he's gone up top alongside Fletcher, which is interesting. I've only ever known him as a winger.
Yeah.
And they've kept the 5 at the back.
25 minutes gone in this second half. Greaves along the floor to Philogene. Philogene on first time, unlucky, looking for Akpom. Something a bit different from Philogene, mixing it up. Ball's back with Peacock Farrell. Out to Brown. Brown gives it to Ashworth. Hayden Coulson, incidentally, in the Blackpool squad today, has been a regular for them this season, a former Town left back. Clark to the overlapping Burns. Burns in, first time, might come to Akpom, cleared away towards, well, it was Bowler who got the better of the bouncing, spinning ball compared to Johnson. Here is Imre to the halfway line, gives it to Honeyman, then Fletcher. Blackpool pinging it around nicely. Morgan with a missed connection. It allows Clark to get on the ball. Jack Clark of Ipswich Town live on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport. Town lead this cup tie 1-0. Clark fires a pass to Philogene. Philogene controls it well. Here come the changes for Town. Eggerly, McAteer and Athon all coming on.
Be interesting to see. I feel looking at it could be Akpom and obviously Wes, I think, having his minutes. It'd be interesting to see who the third one is, because I don't think Clark or Philogene will want to be coming off.
No, it's going to be one of them though, isn't it? But you're right.
They're both playing really well.
Here is Johnson. Back to Greaves. Former Town midfielder Alan Judge alongside me this afternoon, watching Town leading Blackpool by 1-0. Managing, at the moment anyway, to avoid going the way of Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace by losing to lower level opposition. Clark to Matusiwa, he loses the ball. Brown gives it to Bowler for Brighton. Matusiwa goes after Bowler, but in steps Philogene on the far side of the field. Ball's out of play, 40 through to Blackpool. It's going to be 4 changes. Sam Smoddick's return is imminent as well for Ipswich Town, so it's going to be a whole new front four, one would imagine. Yeah. Akpom is the first player to go off, to be replaced by Ivan Athon. Off comes Akpom to a good ovation. No goal for him this afternoon. Ivan Athon makes his first appearance in the FA Cup. Burns is the next player to come off.
Yeah, good afternoon for Wes.
Yeah.
I think he's played pretty well today, and he's got valuable minutes into his legs, especially coming back from that knee injury.
Yeah, just that concern after 13 minutes, but he's kept going, so that's terrific. Smoddick's getting a good ovation. The next change for Town is Clark going off to be replaced by Eggerly.
Yeah, I think the feeling I get from a lot of Ipswich fans as well, I think they really want to see Sammy have a really good run. They want him out, they want him there, fit, not sick. Obviously that's out of his control, but we spoke before feeling that it's not really started for him yet here at Ipswich.
No, it hasn't so far. Who's to say he won't score his first Portman Road goal against his former club Blackburn in a week's time. So it's a new front four. Off go Burns, Clark, Philogene and Akpom, and on have come Athon, McAteer, Smoddick and Eggerly.
Interesting. It looks like Eggerly's playing the number 10 and Sammy's on the left. I thought it might have been McAteer coming on the left, Eggerly on the right, and then Sammy going as the number 10.
Yeah, interesting. Another option for Kieran McKenna. Here is Smodix. Maybe he'll get his first Portman Road goal in the remainder of this match. Around about 17 minutes to go of normal time. Ian Evatt just signalling to one of his subs off to our left-hand side. Maybe another change is coming from the visitors as Greaves gives the ball back to Kipre. Showing his quality, Greaves, his last 2 appearances for Town in the left-back berth at Coventry and then centre-half this afternoon. He's had 2 very good games. Here he is again, giving the ball to Taylor. Greaves forward to Athon. Athon lays it off to Smodix. Smodix over the top, but flags up against Ipswich.
Yeah, going back to Greaves, that's all Greaves can do. He can just perform well when he gets his chances and just give Kieran a headache and saying this is why I should be playing.
Attendance 27,527. That's an excellent attendance for a cup time. Full credit to those Blackpool fans for making the journey as well. At the moment, thankfully, nothing to show for it, but still football to be played. Here come Blackpool. Lovely take from Imre inside the Ipswich Town area. Shot was a trickler straight at Palmer, but again, getting in behind Alan.
Yeah, good bit of play there. Good switch from Morgan. He saw the run from Imre. That was a great ball. Imre just looked like he couldn't get a good connection on the ball.
McAteer, we'd love to see him score his first Ipswich Town goal in this game. Driving, ball into middle towards Athon. Great defending from Lyons, who went with them.
Good defending, good run, good defending.
Young with a chest down for Matusiwa. The referee says play on after a foul on Young. He's got the ball again. Scott Banks, the Scottish midfielder, about to come on for Blackpool. Taking on some instructions from Ian Evatt. We'll hear from Kieran McKenna before 6 o'clock on Match Day. Your thoughts as welcome as well. Chat to Graham and Alan on 0800 141 2121 or text 81333. Start those messages SFK. Blackpool have the ball on the halfway line. Ashworth goes back to Hamilton, up to the halfway line, and Fletcher. He gives the ball to Morgan. Blackpool passing it around inside their half of the field. Ipswich Town will be relatively happy with them doing that. Now they spring forward. Honeyman, ball round the back to Imre. Greaves appeals for an offside and gets it. And then Imre has kicked the ball away, which is a bit daft really, considering his team's chasing the game. Here comes the change for Blackpool. Honeyman is going off and he's been replaced by Scott Banks.
You can see there's been a little bit of switch in Blackpool. They're getting on the ball a little bit more. They're pushing a bit more forward. They're not really sitting back anymore. I think they can tell that they need to really go for it and get a chance, try to get a few chances in. Regarding Ipswich, obviously 4 changes along the front. They just got to be careful that they don't start to lose shape. Don't let Blackpool try play through them too much.
Hopefully benefit Ipswich Town as Blackpool come on to them, and they might as well go for it, Blackpool, because as things stand there heading out of the Cup, it's Ipswich Town in Monday's draw for the 4th round at the moment. That's ahead of the Liverpool-Barnsley game, so I don't think the exact time has been confirmed yet, so we might have news of that on the Blue Hour between 6 and 7 on Monday. We certainly had news of this tie when it was pulled out of the hat before we were off air that Monday night. Long ball down the right hand side for Ipswich. McAteer skips away from his man. No, just comes off Hamilton. Quickly taken through in by McAteer. Egley gives it back to him on the far side. McAteer rolls in field back towards Ashley Young. Now Cedric Kipre into midfield. Taylor. Matusiwa flicks it on to Young. Here is Matusiwa again. 13 to go. Matusiwa picks out a good ball to Egley. Egley goes down. The referee plays another good advantage. No, he's blown up this time for a foul on Egley. And Ashley Young will fancy this.
Yeah, good touch by Egley. It sent the defender the other way and just got one on the back of the ear.
A couple of players over this, not just Young. Now that Egley's on, he also fancies this free kick, perhaps. Marcelino Nunez still looking on from the bench down below us.
Does look like Egley might be taking this. He's had a pat in the back from Ashley Young, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, he's had the seal of approval. Free kick to Ipswich Town. Sindra Waller Egley is over this one. It's a good 26 yards from goal, right of centre. A Norwegian making his first appearance in the FA Cup. Trying to cap it with a goal. which would put Ipswich Town 2-0 ahead and almost into the fourth round. Egley hits it low into the wall, comes out as far as Kipre. The referee's unhappy though. And it's a free kick to Blackpool.
What was that? Was there there might have been a block from somebody possibly, because obviously went straight into the wall, so it wasn't a handball by an Ipswich player.
Kieran McKenna's asking for clarification from the fourth official. Blackpool with the ball back to Peacock Farrell, out to his left hand side. He finds Ashworth towards the halfway line. It's over the top of the battle between Kipre and Fletcher. No one running in behind in Tangerine, so Greaves gives it to Johnson.
Yeah, a bit strange that usually when Bloxton was on, he would be running behind there. I think Bowler playing a bit deeper, so that's a bit surprising. There's no point in playing that ball long if you don't have anybody making those runs in behind.
Matusiwa finds Taylor. Back to the halfway line, Azor Matusiwa bypasses Ashley Fletcher to Greaves. Town 1-0 up live on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport. 11 minutes to go as things stand. Smodix still on that left-hand side. Greaves carries the ball down that flank. In flies Brown, out goes the ball. Greaves is caught late. That's a painful one for the centre half. He's okay though. Made of strong stuff. Taylor picks him up off the deck. Johnson with this throw in for Ipswich Town, looking along the edge of the Blackpool penalty area. A little lull in proceedings at the moment, just the game's become rather broken up, bit patchy because of the raft of substitutions made by both managers. Leif Davis out for a jog at the minute. Ashley Young has the ball, closed down by one of the changes, Banks of Blackpool. Town try the switch. It's got too much on it for Johnson. A willing runner as ever. He's going to go after that, but Imre sees it out behind. Goal kick to Blackpool. Could do with that second goal, couldn't we? Just to sit here a bit more comfortably, Alan, a bit more relaxed.
Yeah, like Blackpool haven't had many chances, but that long ball, it does seem to be troubling Ipswich when they do use it. That's why I'm a bit surprised that he took Bloxton off and went away from the two up top, and he's dropped in and playing Bowler a bit deeper.
Long kick downfield, little flick in for Fletcher to Hamilton. He's offside, thankfully. He was in on goal, but the flag went up against him. But again, another little whiff of danger as far as Ipswich Town were concerned there.
Yep, that this time CJ Hamilton has pushed on. Bowler still a bit deeper. Fletcher's flicked it on. Just got to be careful. That is their way of getting in, isn't it? You can see that they do pass it nicely at times, but their main way of getting in behind Ipswich is over on that far right hand side.
Blackpool have lost 6 of their last 9 against Town in all competitions, and lost 17 of their last 20 FA Cup ties against sides at a higher level. Did beat Nottingham Forest, who were in the Premier League 3 years ago. That was a bit of a scalp for them, but at the moment they're behind to Town. Egley lets the ball go through to Athon. Morgan up towards Bowler, who could be a thorn in Ipswich Town's side as this game progresses, the substitute. He's got the ability to open things up. Here he is, the number 19, trying to get away from Smodix, which he's managed to do. Tricky work from Bowler. Edge of the area has a go, deflected, blocked away by Ipswich Town. Then it's McAteer, scoops up to Athon. Athon's header reaches Smodix. Smodix with a little layoff to Taylor. There is Smodix infield to Matusiwa. Nice play this from Ipswich Town. Matusiwa running forward with the ball, challenged by Brown. Matusiwa's kept his footing brilliantly. Athon inside the area, way too much on that left-footed cross. Will be recycled by McAteer. McAteer back to Young. 8 minutes to go. Can Town get a second goal? Taylor up to the edge of the area looking for Smodix. Battered away by Casey. I haven't mentioned him too much.
Matusiwa just seems to not run out of energy any time I've ever seen him. He's still making long busting runs there. Great play by Sammy to let him to release him, and he's did well to keep hold of the ball.
Johnson pulls the ball in field for Matusiwa. 7.5 minutes to go live on BBC Radio Suffolk as things stand. Ipswich Town heading through to round 4 of the FA Cup, but they only lead 1-0. Matusiwa going in between a couple of Blackpool players, up to Smodix. Nice layoff from Smodix to Egley. Egley on that right hand side for the minute. Back the ball goes to Young. Now it's with Matusiwa. Greaves on the ball. Town having a lot of the possession inside the Blackpool half of the field, which will do. Greaves gets back and gets on the ball. Finds Palmer outside of his area, closed down by Fletcher. Plays it to Greaves. Greaves up to Taylor. Taylor up to the halfway line, but Smodics had made a run and the ball didn't reach him. Here is Banks of Blackpool trying to get away from Matusiwa. Skips away from Young. Banks just about kept his footing, then low ball into the area. Intercepted by Taylor. For Kipre. Kipre slides the ball to the halfway line and Egley. He gives it to Smodics. First time out to the left-hand side, Athon. Here come Ipswich Town looking for a second goal in this cup tie to kill it off. Athon, the ball is behind. McAteer hasn't got into this game. Not up to the pace of it yet, Athon.
No, he needs to make a better decision there. Sammy's busted his lungs there to get around him. That's a simple pass for him when he's going to make the wrong decision.
Hamilton. He's still a threat out there. So too Fletcher. Banks is fresh. Bowler we know about as well. Certainly players out there in Tangerine that could take this game to extra time. Town lead 1-0. Philigine's goal in the first half, the difference between these two sides. Town back in action here next Saturday. It's 2 till 6 match day, 3 o'clock. Oh sorry, it's not, as a midday match day, should I say. 12:30 kick-off when Blackburn come. Poor layoff from Hamilton. That was tired. He's given the ball to Matusiwa. Egley up to Athon. Athon again's having a stinker. It has to be said, nothing's gone right for him so far. Here come Blackpool. Imre. In steps Taylor. Well done, Jack Taylor. Really good work from him. Imre's whinging, but there's nothing wrong with what Taylor did at all. And it was important what he did.
Yeah, definitely. He's got to get a hold of it. He's got to realise he's playing. This is not. It's English football. There's a lot more. It's a lot more physical than what he's probably used to. But going back to Taylor there, that sums Taylor up all day. He's all over the pitch. He's getting back, winning the ball. Good recovery from Taylor.
I think Imre is going to get a yellow card just for the verbals, really, out of sheer frustration that he didn't get. That free kick. Second Blackpool player after Lyons to go in the referee's notepad. We're into the final 5 minutes of the 90 minutes here at Portman Road. Yeah, really good work from Taylor getting back there. Greaves on this free kick. So Kieran McKenna's not had the luxury of being able to rest Matusiwa. Maybe given Barbrook his home debut. He did do very well at Bromley Barbrook, but understandable why he's not come on in this game. Town unable to, so far anyway, find a second or third goal. McAteer, haven't seen him for a little bit in the league. Casey McAteer.
Yeah, it's hard to take off someone like Matusiwa, who's very good at breaking up the play. Very unique job to have, to be always in the right place at the right time.
McAteer to Taylor. Taylor storming forward. Little ball in his box looking for Smodics. Almost the Irish connection doing it for Ipswich Town there. You'd have enjoyed that goal, Alan.
Yeah,
McAteer to Taylor
nice
to Smodics.
Same. It would have been nice to see Sammy get his first goal here at Portman Road. But good play. Matusiwa picking the ball up, finding Taylor, which I have to say, I think Taylor and Matusiwa are definitely getting a great connection with each other as the weeks go on. And just unlucky it was a little bit short for Sammy to get a shot off.
86.5 minutes played. Town can score from this corner kick there, almost certainly into round 4 of the FA Cup. It would take an almighty turnaround to spoil the party. Let's see what Ashley Young can do in terms of his delivery, the captain. Right-footed towards the far post, it's headed in! Jacob Greaves, who's had a terrific game at the back, nods it into the corner of the net. And that surely means that Ipswich Town are through to round 4 of the FA Cup. We're heading into the final 3 minutes at Portman Road, and Ipswich Town lead League One Blackpool by 2-0.
And now Ipswich can breathe, I feel. That's been coming from set pieces. We said it in the first half, Ipswich were physically dominant. Good for Greaves to get the goal, another good delivery from Young. And nothing more than Greaves deserves today. I think he's been very, very good. I think he's been, along with Jack Clark, they've been brilliant today.
Yeah, he has had an excellent game at both ends now. Jacob Greaves, his second of the season. He's been so good. And Kieran McKenna glances towards the bench and he looks at Elkin Baggett, who's going to be getting some rare minutes for Ipswich Town. Former Blackpool player who was on loan there last season. Did well as well by the sounds of things. He's getting his final checks. The number 25 is coming on and he's going to be replacing Ben Johnson for the rest of this game.
Johnson was good today as well. He came in, he did his job. The few times I've seen Johnson, he does his job and just gets on with it. And it's good to see Elkin come on. Obviously, Elkin was coming through the academy. I played with him a couple of times when I was there with him. So he's a nice young lad as well. So it's good to see.
In early days, how are you finding retirement, Alan, as well?
I think, as we said before, I'm enjoying not being sore. So not missing it at the moment. I know it's a long way. It's only been 2-3 months, but with a bit of coaching, etc., and media work, I'm enjoying it. It was the right time.
Blackpool on this near side to us. They're left, so Philogene and Greaves. The former Hull players have done the job for Ipswich Town, and it is the visit of Hull which will be cancelled next month at this rate. That'll have to be a midweek game at some point when they come here, because it's Valentine's weekend, 4th round of the FA Cup. Ipswich Town 2-0 ahead in this game. Good closing down by Smodics. Good to see him back out there. Yes, there is a question mark over whether he might be a player who could move on this month. Talk about Derby County and his former manager John Eustace perhaps been interested in him. On halfway, Morgan has the ball for Blackpool. Good diagonal to the far side, and Hamilton takes it on his chest. If they score here, it might be different. Blackpool, low ball in from Hamilton. It's up and over the top and away from Matusiwa, chasing back and giving Blackpool their 6th corner kick.
Again, Matusiwa in the right place, right time, doing his job. He always seems to be there, doesn't he? He always seems to be breaking the play up at the right time.
Corner kick to Blackpool in the final 15 seconds of this 90 minutes. They need a goal now, really, and it comes from Morgan. Referee's unhappy with something in there. 5 minutes of added on time to be played. It'll start with an Ipswich Town free kick at the back. Talked a bit about Taylor and Matusiwa. Town linked with a former teammate of yours, Tom Kearney, in the last 24 hours. What would you make of that move, Alan, if something comes of that, the Fulham midfielder?
If Ipswich managed to pull that off, that would be one hell of a sign. You have to say, you just watched him play the other night in the Premier League and he didn't look out of sorts there. So to come and play in the Championship, if you play him alongside the likes of Taylor or Matusiwa, whereas Tom doesn't have to do as much running and can get on the ball, I think you'll have one hell of a midfield there.
An age no issue either. He's 35 next week. I think still could do a job, couldn't he?
No problem. He doesn't really have many injury issues. He's always available most of the time. So I don't think it's seen it being a problem. And as Kieran's quite good at it, he manages older players' minutes quite well.
Baggett takes the ball away from Imre. Terrific player Tom Kearney's been down the years, still doing a really good job, as Alan was saying there. I used to love watching that midfield for Fulham, the McDonald, Kearney and Johansson midfield back in the day. As Imre has this throw-in for Blackpool. A long, long way away from their first ever win at Portman Road, Blackpool. 2 minutes into the added-on 5. Free kick on halfway to Blackpool. Man of the match announcement is coming. Jacob Greaves, good shout.
Yeah,
I'd go along with that.
Not surprising. Either him or Jack Clark I would have went with today. So not surprising. Jacob is just doing what he's asked to do. When he's brought back into the team, he's performing well.
Morgan plants the ball into the Ipswich area. Didn't have enough swing on it, and it's collected by Palmer. Nice to see him get a clean sheet as well. That'll mean the world to Alex Palmer. Hadn't done anything wrong, just got injured against Charlton. Walton came in and reminded us that what a good second choice, if that's the right phrase, goalkeeper he is, Christian Walton.
I think people forget that. When Christian was here, he was number 1 at the very start, and he picked up a horrible, I think it was Achilles injury, and he's just been playing catch-up since. Not catch-up as in the sense of not being fit, it's just that the other keepers come in, done well. Kieran sticks with them. Christian now has his chance. I would imagine we'll see him play again next week, so it's up to Christian to keep himself in there.
Greaves inside his own penalty area, taking a bit of a risk. He gave it to Taylor, who then flicked it out to the right hand side. It almost went wrong there for man of the match, Jacob Greaves.
When things are going well for you, they go well.
They are, aren't they? Exactly. Phew. If it had been 1-0 and he was doing that, I'd have been very, very worried. But Town, thanks to him, have got a 2-goal cushion. 2.5 minutes to play. Might be a chance for McAteer to get in behind. Good sweeper keeper work from Peacock Farrell. Taylor gives it to Eggly. Can Town get a third goal? Athon back to Eggly. Eggly sets himself up and hit it across the face of the goal and missed the far post by about 4 or 5 yards. Good professional performance from Ipswich Town. 39 places above the visitors. Town heading into Monday's draw with Macclesfield, with Wrexham, with Leicester. Wolves were big winners at lunchtime. Manchester City, by the fact they were leading 4-0 at Exeter at half-time, they'll be in the draw. Baggett, just away from Athon with that pass. He's another player who I guess might follow Cameron Humphreys out of the club on a temporary deal over the next few weeks. Baggett.
Yeah, I would imagine he's at the stage again that they'll want him to play a bit more, so good for him to get a few minutes now, and then again probably be like Cam, send them out, and if they need him back they might have a recall in the contract.
Have a chat to Alan Judge afterwards. 0800 141 2121 or text 81333. Start those messages SFK. WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Again, put SFK at the start of those. Or if you want to be part of the Blue Hour between 6 and 7 on Monday night on BBC Radio Suffolk, you can email me, brenner@bbc.co.uk, BRENNER @bbc.co.uk. Here come Blackpool. Bowler to Banks. Banks edge of the area. Gets away from the challenge of Matusiwa. Then goes down under a challenge from Greaves. It's going to be a penalty. Greaves has given away a penalty right at the end of this game. Final 30 seconds of it. Alan, your thoughts?
I'm not so sure on that. I think he's won the ball. You can see the ball going in a different direction.
Well, you see a replay here. He's not going to change his mind anyway, as we said. Obviously no VAR. Let's have a little look at this.
Good feet by Banks. He's got the ball.
He got the ball, didn't he? Yeah, he did get the ball, Greaves, so he has been unlucky.
He's moved his feet well there. He hasn't got stuck, and he's clearly got the ball there. Lucky he did get the second goal then.
Chance for Ashley Fletcher to score in all three of Blackpool's FA Cup ties this season. And surely it is just going to be 3 FA Cup ties for Blackpool this season. We've gone beyond the added on 5 minutes at the end of this third round tie. Town 2-0 ahead, but Fletcher has a chance to pull one back for the visitors and give their travelling thousands some joy from their trip to East Anglia. It's in. The delay was because Palmer got fingertips on it, but it did end up in the back of the net, and hopefully that's no more than a consolation for the Tangerines. It's Town 2, Blackpool 1.
Hopefully it is. When the referee looks back, I know referees can make a mistake, but he's clearly won the ball, and lucky it's late on in the game, not 70 or 80 minutes into the game.
We've now played 6 minutes of the supposed added on 5. Town kicking off again, so no clean sheet for Palmer on his return to side. He made a good attempt to stop it. Forward from Kipre out to the left hand side. Athon, his head on will go out of play. It's come off the Blackpool player. I didn't see that, but the referees suggest that it's an Ipswich Town throw in, which will be handy. Town lead 2-1, 96.5 minutes played in this cup tie. Unbeaten in 8 games at Portman Road now, Ipswich. Athon touches the ball down to Smodix outside the Blackpool area. No danger at all of it becoming 2-2 anytime soon. Through to Ipswich, deep inside Blackpool's half. It's going to be a 5th straight home victory for Ipswich Town in all competitions. As the referee checks his watch, he must just be seconds away from blowing his full-time whistle, which confirms that Ipswich Town have beaten Blackpool by 2-1 and progressed to the 4th round of the FA Cup. They'll be in Monday's draw ahead of the game between Liverpool and Barnsley. Alan, your thoughts overall?
I think very professional performance from Ipswich. They did the job, they were at it from the start. Ipswich had a few moments in the first half, Blackpool had a few moments in the first half, but overall I felt it was quite comfortable. The penalty at the end, referee looks back at that again, it wasn't a penalty, the game should have ended 2-0.
And Jacob Greaves got man of the match, and you'd go along with that. Yeah, what did you like about him this afternoon?
Yeah, definitely. He done what he was supposed to do. He won his aerial duels. He won his fair share at set pieces. He was good on the ball. Just unlucky for him at the end that the penalty was given, but we've seen the replay. He's clearly won the ball. I would go with him or either Jack Clark, and obviously with him scoring the goal at the end, I'd give it to Jacob as well.
And what about Jack Clark in the 10 and his chance of maybe ousting Marcelino Nunez when it comes to a league game?
I think it definitely gives Kieran food for thought. It's a different type of number 10. I don't think you see Nunez as much of a dribbler like Jack. But Jack, what he proved today, it might be against the team below, he can still dribble with the ball but also find a good pass.
And how important Ipswich Town crack on in the FA Cup for you? That's one game out of the way. All of a sudden, the draw open. There's an opportunity, whatever the draw might go on Monday, for it to kind of keep going, isn't there?
Exactly. I'm sure Kieran will want more games because he's got a big squad. You know, it's good to have a run in the FA Cup. But I'm pretty sure he won't want it up north like yourself. I think he'd rather have it at home.
Yeah, he wouldn't want to play Wigan or whoever else is still in the hat. And in all seriousness, I mean, Town are one of the few clubs that have yet to play at the new Wembley. You win a couple of more games and you've got the quarter-finals within your sights, and then things start to get really exciting, don't they? Why not?
Of course. I think they'd like to get another Premier League team here to see where they match against a Premier League team. I think it'd be interesting. Obviously last year they were in the Premier League, it didn't go to the plan, but I think this squad will be more used to Premier League football. I think it was carefully put together, so it'll be interesting to see if I'd like to see them get a Premier League team and see how they can do against a Premier League outfit this season.
How many goals can Philogene get this season? He's now on 10.
He's on 10, we're into January. You know, I think if he gets another 5, 6, he'd be it's a very, very successful season for him. The thing for Jayden is now looking at, I think we spoke throughout the game, is can I do it away from home? Can I get a goal away from home? Defenders seem to be not learning their lesson and backing off them.
I was going to ask you about that. There'll come a point surely when they do learn their lesson and you might have to try a different approach.
Well, if I'm a defender, I'm taking them outside the box, not letting them run at me. I'd rather foul them outside the box than letting them back me into the penalty area where I cannot touch them. And a player like Jayden who can jink left to right, that is the worst thing you want, is someone like that trying to get at you in your own box.
And when you're looking at this squad, you've looked at them all season, where do you think could do with a bit of strengthening over the course of the next 3 weeks or so?
I think from what I've seen, I think maybe up front is where you got to look at it. I think George has got 4 or 5. He's the top goal scorer for strikers. Ipswich are second in the league. You think with the amount of chances that they create, if you've got that natural finisher, that could get you over the line easily. And we spoke before, I think George does a lot for the team. When you see George play live, not through a TV screen, you actually see how much George does. I know he's not a complete natural finisher, so if you could get someone where George does all the dirty work and you get someone else to come on and take those chances, or you can switch them, that natural finisher for me would be possibly what they're looking for.
Thank you so much for your company this afternoon, Alan. Terrific work. It's been lovely working alongside you. Alan, hang around to take your calls on 0800 141 2121 when I go downstairs to speak to Kieran McKenna and hopefully one of his players, maybe even Jacob Greaves, talking about his side's 2-1 win over Blackpool, which has taken them through to the 4th round of the FA Cup.